You want the intro sung by your humble host? I sing it all the time. Oh, guys, welcome in. Welcome in. Welcome in. We've got a lot to talk about today. We're going to talk about the Fed Slop flip-flop. We're going to introduce the concept. I'm not sure anyone's actually gone through it by the numbers before. We have on a few of them. We're not going to track down every Fed Slopper. We're not going to show you every flip-flop, but we are going to show you a few, even some Fed Sloppers you forgot about that at one time they weren't Fed Sloppers. There are people out there who you just assume are Fed Sloppers and have always been from day one. No, my friends. We're going to go through some evidence that's potentially shocking. The other thing we're going to do, I'm going to add one quick thing real quick. The other thing we're going to do is we've got to talk about whether the Department of War, whether the military apparatus is pushing some of these attacks on Candace Owens and others, including your humble host. The problem is we don't know who all works where, and we're learning it. It's starting to roll out in little bits and pieces here and there, and we see little bits of it here and there, and all of a sudden we don't know, hey, wait a minute. I didn't know you worked for the feds. Well, now, sometimes we have to find that out in real time. So we'll talk about that as well. And we'll have a pretty good open, if I do say so myself. I think we have a pretty good open. I am in medium rare prime rib form today. Bean paste, what did some of you call it? Raw liver. I'm not sure what color this is, but ladies and gentlemen, it's offered by Adidas. That's not a product placement. That's not a product placement. They did not sponsor the program. But as I get through this, as I get into the open, I want you to really drill down into this open and think, what lesson do we think we can learn from the open as applied to the topic at hand today, the Fed Slop flip-flop? Because the open, I really had this one in the back of my head I wanted to do for a while, but I wasn't sure precisely what day I wanted to do it. I wasn't sure what day I wanted to just pound on people. I typically, I'm a free speech absolutist. I'm a John Stuart Mill guy. I've had a lot of people approach me and say, hey, I have documented dozens, maybe hundreds of examples of particular people defaming you, saying things that just aren't true. Well, I don't care. Well, you should sue them. No, I'm not going to. Why not? People realize you're not going to sue them. They'll keep saying these terrible things. That's fine. I'm okay with that. All press is good press, right? No, the antidote to bad speech is more speech. The antidote to bad speech is more speech. So if you don't like what someone's saying, you can get out there and have your own show. If you don't like, if I don't like what some of these Fed Sloppers are saying, I can highlight them. I can talk about what it is they're saying. I'm free to defend myself should I choose to. I'm not sure that anything that's come up yet I need to defend myself on. Although I did defend myself on my ankle size a little bit today, ladies and gentlemen. In May, I'll show you these pictures. In May of 2022, it was May 10th of 2022, your humble host took a tumble, and it was bad. It was bad. Let me make this as big as I can here, and I'm going to show you some of this stuff. I dropped from about 12 feet or so, give or take, off of on some uneven terrain. Broke my several bones in my leg, had surgery, faced a long recovery to even start walking again. Yes, I had to learn how to re-walk. I had to make the connection in my brain on how to walk, and my leg by that time was completely immobile. So I had to even begin to learn how to bend my leg. It was weird. I was not expecting it at all. First time I went to PT, Moon Goddess, you're going to like this. I went in there and he said, all right, show me how much movement you have. And my leg was just stiff. I was like, I'm trying to move it, doc, I promise. So I still wince when I see the Spider-Man drop off. So this is your humble host. Oop, that's a little too big of a leg here. Let's back up. That's your humble host in the emergency room shortly afterwards, all doped up on every drug imaginable. There's an x-ray of the leg, the foot torn off the leg there and all the broken bones. That is a picture of the inside, and that's a picture of the outside. Now, I'm going to pull that down because YouTube's going to freak out about that, even though it's my leg. They're still going to hit that, and I'm going to have to blur it out by the time the show's all said and done. But I don't care. I wanted to show you because that drop off the Losi Center roof was higher than that. When I say I dropped from 12 feet, I was hanging on at 12 feet, which means I probably really only dropped from 8 feet. But I dropped on a little uneven ground, and my ankle flipped out from under me, and my momentum carried it in and just smashed everything. So I say that to say I have some sympathy with Spider-Man. We'll find out later how Spider-Man was doing after that fall. I'm sure over the course of the trial, we're going to get some more footage of Spider-Man, maybe running away or whatever. I thought I saw him a little gimpy on the way to the road. So we'll find out. If so, I sympathize, Spider-Man, wherever you are. I sympathize. I empathize. I've been there. All right, let me get into the open. Oh, where did I do with the open? Oh, please. I thought I linked it into the run, and I did not. Here we go. Because I really like this open. I like this subject. I like the topic. I have strong opinions on this topic, but I have never done an open on this topic. And today, ladies and gentlemen, we shall get into it. Because with your permission, it's your opening statement. In the late 1960s and even into the early 1970s, abortion in the United States was heavily restricted. It was heavily restricted by state law, not federal law. Abortion law in America was basically a patchwork. It was a patchwork of regulations and laws, and they were mostly rooted in 19th century statutes. The state banned the procedure, or the state put severe limits on the procedure, but most states banned the procedure outright. Some states had some, lax rules about if it was necessary to save the life of the mother, but most states just said, no, you're out. Can't have an abortion here. So illegal abortions became kind of the mainstay. They were pretty widespread, and they were often performed by unlicensed providers, sometimes not even doctors. They were done in unsanitary conditions, and they had a pretty lousy failure rate. They had a lot of maternal morbidity and mortality associated with the procedure. Public opinion was starting to shift. There was the broader women's rights movements that was taking place in the 1960s. Nevertheless, it remained a deeply contested moral, medical, and legal issue. There was no national constitutional right to an abortion recognized. There were a handful of states, New York and California come to mind, and they'd begun liberalizing their laws around 1970, and those new liberalized laws allowed broader access, not a blanket right to an abortion at any time for any reason, but they did liberalize their framework quite a bit. But those options were really out of reach for most people, most women, because of cost or travel or even the social stigma of having an abortion. Texas had one of the strictest sets of abortion laws in the country. Abortions were prohibited under nearly all circumstances, and there were almost no exceptions. And Texas is where Norma McCorvey lived at the time. Norma McCorvey was born Norma Leah Nelson way back in 1947 in Louisiana. She was raised in difficult circumstances in Texas. She was brought up with family instability. She was abused. There was a stint in the reform school. She got married very young and had successive unplanned pregnancies. She became pregnant for the third time in 1969. She was 21 or 22 years old. I actually couldn't nail down a date how old she was. She sought an abortion but couldn't get one, not legally, not in Texas anyway. So she went to an adoption lawyer. She wanted to put the baby up for adoption. And through the adoption lawyer, she was connected with two young attorneys who were desperately seeking a pregnant plaintiff that would challenge the Texas ban. They wanted to challenge it on a class action basis on behalf of all women in Texas. In early 1970, she signed an affidavit. She later claimed she did not fully read or even understand the affidavit. She was given a pseudonym, the name most of us know her by, Jane Roe. The lawsuit she filed, Roe versus Wade, named Dallas County District Attorney Henry Wade as the defendant. McCorvey was already several months pregnant when the case was filed, and by the time it reached the higher courts, she'd already given birth and had already placed the child up for adoption. Norma McCorvey, Jane Roe, never actually had an abortion. The lower courts actually ruled in her favor, and the case made it all the way to the United States Supreme Court. January 22nd, 1973, the U.S. Supreme Court decided 7-2 that the Constitution actually had a right to privacy, rooted in the Due Process Clause of the 14th Amendment. Of course, no such words exist in the Constitution, but that didn't stop the U.S. Supreme Court from finding the right hidden inside the actual text of the Constitution. The court said this supposed right to privacy encompassed a woman's decision to terminate her pregnancy. The majority opinion was written by Justice Harry Blackmun, and he established a trimester framework. States could not interfere in the first trimester. A woman could do anything for any reason or no reason at all. During the second trimester, they could regulate, but only to protect maternal health. And after the third trimester, that's when the only prescriptions you could have were to preserve the life or health of the mother. And that decision struck down the Texas law, but it also struck down all state laws nationwide. And it established a heretofore unknown constitutional right to abortion that stood for nearly 5 decades until the U.S. Supreme Court reversed itself in 2022. In the years immediately following the ruling, Norma McCorvey remained pretty low profile. She'd lived a largely working class life. She had continuing personal struggles, but she gradually became more visible as a symbol of the pro-choice side. In the 1980s, for example, she spoke out against conservative nominees for the courts like Robert Bork. She framed opposition to abortion rights as an insult to women. By the early 1990s, she worked as a counselor and a receptionist at a Dallas abortion clinic, where she interacted with patients and publicly defended abortion access. In 1994, she published the memoir, I Am Roe. She recounted her life story and affirmed her support for abortion rights and women's autonomy. She criticized aggressive pro-life tactics outside clinics, and McCorvey positioned herself as someone who had lived the realities the decision addressed. She was never the polished national spokesperson that people wanted. She was not preferred really by mainstream feminist organizations. She was not a particularly impressive character in front of a camera or behind a microphone. Nevertheless, she engaged in public advocacy aligned with this pro-choice cause, and she did so for about 2 full decades after the ruling. That alignment between Norma McCorvey and the pro-choice cause, it ended very abruptly in 1995. Operation Rescue. This was a militant anti-abortion group known for, clinic blockades, very confrontational protests. Operation Rescue opened an office next door to the clinic where Norma McCorvey worked. She initially reacted with some hostility, but soon she began to befriend the group's local leader. It was an evangelical minister named Flip Benham. Within months, Norma McCorvey underwent a pretty dramatic public conversion. She was baptized in the backyard of Benham's house. She announced she was now pro-life. She said, quote, I'm pro-life. She didn't leave anything up to the imagination or interpretation. And she said, I think I've always been pro-life. I just didn't know it. She told this to a radio interview. At first, McCorvey's position still allowed for abortions in the first trimester, at least under limited circumstances. But very quickly, she hardened into a total opposition stance. Here's a quote, 100% pro-life, no exceptions, no compromise. That's Norma McCorvey in 1998. She quit the clinic, and she began appearing at pro-life rallies and protests. In 1998, she published a second book, Won by Love. This book detailed her spiritual and ideological transformation. She renounced her earlier lesbian identity. She testified before Congress that she was dedicated to undoing the laws that bore her name. She filed unsuccessful legal challenges seeking to reverse Roe versus Wade. She disrupted Senate hearings, including the confirmation of Justice Sonia Sotomayor. She was actually arrested during that. She campaigned against politicians she viewed as pro-choice, including very famously Barack Obama. And for the final 2 decades of her life, she was a sought-after trophy speaker and symbol for the anti-abortion movement. She regularly described herself as having been used as a pawn by her original lawyers and expressed deep regret for the millions of abortions she believed the decision had enabled. Then she died of heart failure, February of 2017. She was 69 years old. And that's when everything kind of came out. The financial underpinnings of her drastic and dramatic switch on the issue of abortion became public after she died. In 2020, there was a documentary called AKA Jane Roe. It was filmed in the months before she died. And in that, she delivered what she explicitly called her deathbed confession. In the documentary, you can tell she's visibly frail and on oxygen. She stated that her pro-life advocacy had been an act performed for money. I was the big fish, she said in the documentary. Quote, I think it was a mutual thing. I took their money, and they'd put me out in front of cameras and tell me what to say. And that's what I'd say. It was all an act. I did it well, too. I am a good actress, end quote. Filmmakers and reporting associated with the project indicated she'd received an estimated $500,000 over the years. This came in the form of payments, speaking fees, and even support from pro-life organizations, including people linked to Operation Rescue. Anti-abortion activist Rob Schenck was interviewed in the film, and he acknowledged the payments were made in part out of concern she might revert to the other side. He described a transactional dynamic in which both parties were using each other. Norma McCorvey also described her personal indifference to others' choices, saying, if a young woman wants to have an abortion, that's no skin off my hiney. That's why they call it choice, end quote. The revelation reframed her late career as complex, at the very minimum complex. It's a transactional chapter in an already very turbulent life. Her trajectory was from reluctant plaintiff in a transformative constitutional case through limited but visible pro-choice engagement to very high-profile pro-life advocacy and finally a deathbed admission of a financial motive. It illustrates the human messiness behind such legal and cultural battles. And her story underscores how personal circumstances, attention, even the sense of wanting to belong, and of course money, can intersect with deeply polarizing public issues. And that's why I wanted to talk about that opening tonight, because what we're going to cover tonight is much of the same. When somebody has a deeply, what looks like deep convictions in their public analysis of a particular issue, and then all of a sudden, for no reason, they flip on a dime, and they provide no explanation. It makes you wonder what's behind it. Is it just a sense of belonging? Is it a deeply held personal conviction that flipped and we just don't want to talk about the past? Is there money involved? We don't know. We don't know. But all we have is the evidence before us of these deep flips, these really strange switches. And we've got several of them that we'll talk about tonight. For example, Benny likes Johnson. Benny Johnson. Benny Johnson. I always say he likes Johnson. He likes the Johnson family name. He goes by Johnson. He could have picked a stage name. Johnson's a pretty common name. Maybe he could have been like Benny Phoenix or, something crazy. But no. Benny likes Johnson. So he stuck with Johnson. So we've got Benny Johnson. Let's take a look at Benny Johnson back in the day, ladies and gentlemen. Here's Benny Johnson early on after the tragic death of Charlie Kirk.
But the fact that this individual had an escape plan, was able to pull this off and then leave undetected. Charlie Kirk travels with a phalanx of security guards. There's no less than 10 highly trained military agents with him. They're not actively in the military. Many of them have served and trained at the highest levels. Charlie Kirk has an excellent security team, one of the single best in the business. Charlie Kirk, and it is often his events are staffed with law enforcement, as this event was. So to be able to evade all of that, to be able to get a single shot, not one shot, this shooter was not going for mass casualty, was not going for terrorism, a single shot, it was one, according to all available evidence, a single round from 200 or more yards, without anybody accurately capturing or noticing the shooter. And then the shooter disappears and is currently still unapprehended. Yes, there is reason for people to believe that this is a professional hit job.
Reason to believe this is a professional hit job. Have any of those facts changed? Are all those facts not still the same as they were on that day? It'd be one thing if new facts came to life and you'd say, well, I didn't know this when I said that, so now I'm confident he did it. No. The facts are all the same. Charlie had allegedly elite security team. The alleged assassin was able to sneak in and sneak out without being seen. He was able to fire off a single shot from distance, not unreasonable distance, but distance. None of that changed. None of that changed. But those were the factors that led him to believe that it was a professional hit job, perhaps. There's reason to believe it's a professional hit job. I'm going to play a little more of this clip here.
John Solomon is an excellent reporter, and Steven Crowder has some leaked information. I want to talk about both. I want to begin by saying that I'm very, very close with Charlie and his team. And here's what I wish to relay to you from them. That there is some considerable evidence that there were state actors involved here. That's it. I don't want to go any further than that. I can't go any further than that. That is what I've been told.
So not only was he convinced, based on the elusiveness of the alleged assassin, that it was a professional, not a 22-year-old gay kid from St. George, but that it was a professional hit job, potentially with state actor involvement. In fact, there was considerable evidence that there were state actors. Well, has that changed? Has that changed? Has he ever given an explanation of what the considerable evidence was that there were state actors at play? I don't think so. Now let's fast forward. That was in the hours, really, after it happened. But now let's fast forward to Benny Johnson in November. So that was Benny Johnson in September. Now let's go to Benny Johnson in November. Is he satisfied, ladies and gentlemen, with the arc of the investigation? Is he satisfied with the arc of the investigation? Well, let's go back to the Benny Show.
What's up, guys? Benny. A question I get asked regularly in interviews and live in person at Clemson University this week at a Turning Point USA speech that I gave is, are you satisfied with the investigation into Charlie Kirk's murder? And I'll give you the straight answer. No, I'm not satisfied with the investigation. I am unnerved by some recent developments in the investigation, including some missing evidence. We're going to talk about that in just a moment. But a reminder that Charlie Kirk was a young, aspirational, generational leader who was bound to become president of the United States one of these days. He was a massive cultural force, a generational talent to be reckoned with. Everyone could see. I've seen this play before with the killing of JFK. JFK was murdered 70 years ago. It did also happen on camera, a lot fewer cameras those days, but the federal government lied to us about that murder. How do we know that? Well, because the voluminous JFK records, not all of which have been released, but some of which have been released just this year, finally, after everybody involved is dead, show that Lee Harvey Oswald had been bumped by the CIA. But the CIA not only was tracking with, but was making physical contact with Lee Harvey Oswald in the days leading up to the assassination of JFK. They've been lying to us for 70 years about that. It's a very important piece of information. And so I don't want that to happen with my friend Charlie. I don't want to be lied to. And it seems like they're setting up, potentially, the opportunity to lie to or deceive us. And let me explain what I mean by that. I know that there are an enormous amount of theories online right now about what happened that day. I have decided that what I'm going to do is stick with the known available physical evidence that we have right now. I'm going to let the trial play out. We're going to ask legitimate questions. We're going to be open-minded, and we're going to be respectful in the way that we deliberate over this. And I'm simply going to present to you all available evidence. And here it is.
Guys, He opens by saying the federal government lies about high-profile political assassinations. I agree with you, sir. I agree with you. They lied about JFK. They lied about Martin Luther King. They lied about Malcolm X. They lied about RFK. And I think they've lied about Charlie Kirk. I don't know why we can agree they lie about all these other ones, but for some reason in the Charlie Kirk case, we just insist they're telling the truth. We don't have any real evidence of it. He said he wasn't satisfied with the state of the evidence. Well, the state of the evidence remains precisely the same as it was back in November when he made that comment. So what has changed? We know Benny's changed. We'll take a look at that in a second. But what particularly has changed? He's given us no explanation. He's just changed. He's just changed. He's just thrown up caution to the wind and said, in fact, I'm not going to wait for the trial to play out. There's been no trial yet. There's not even been a finding of probable cause. Tyler Robinson hasn't entered a plea of guilty or not guilty. There's been just a little bit of evidence put forward in front of the judge sitting as the magistrate, and Benny Johnson's like, yeah, I'm convinced. I'm convinced. So he lied. He lied back then. He was not intending to sit back and wait on the evidence, or maybe he was at the time, but no longer is he. No longer is he. He even goes on to raise a particular point that we've raised on this program. I will fast forward to that and show you this now, because Benny gets a little heated talking about whether or not we have chicanery afoot. Is there chicanery afoot, particularly around the time Tyler Robinson turned himself in?
The activity here, you can see a figure running across the roof and jumping off the building. Again, I want to show you all available evidence as it comes in. And I would love to show you, for instance, this famous footage of Tyler Robinson being arrested. Tyler Robinson being brought in by his dad, as the story goes, right? Brought in by his father. Thanks, Dad. I don't have it. Oh, no. It's been deleted. Well, that's strange. CBS News 2 investigates, discovers possible missing evidence in Charlie Kirk murder case. Well, what is that? We requested the surveillance video from the sheriff's office. There's cameras everywhere in the sheriff's office. But the sheriff said that they deleted the video of Tyler, of like the most famous political murderer of our time, of recent political or news memory.
Yeah, and that's still a fact, Benny. That hasn't changed. That hasn't changed. So you remember how you were suspicious that they might be lying to you and covering stuff up and withholding evidence and not giving you everything, and you were going to sit back, Benny Likes Johnson, and you were going to really just take it all in and just make an evaluation as the evidence rolled in? I remember that. That was on November 20th. Well, let's fast forward to December 10th. Let's fast forward to December 10th. We have Benny Likes Johnson yet again, this time on X. Representative Tim Burchett says January 6th pipe bomber Brian Cole was groomed by CIA Mortal Kombat Ultra tactics like Crooks and Robinson. Always alone, no contact. They said that about Thomas Crooks and Tyler Robinson. It's always the same pattern. You've got organizations that say, we don't do mind control. Then they got sued and said, we did do it, but not anymore. I think they're lying. They put out garbage through airways on the internet. They target these individuals. Yeah, I'm with you, Benny. Oh, I'm with you back in December. I'm very skeptical of this story. I think it does show evidence of high-level state actors. I think it is nonsensical to believe this guy got in and out by himself and he's not a trained professional. So let's fast forward. Now we get to watch the flip-flop. In real time because we have Benny Likes Johnson going on the record. Benny Likes Johnson going on the record here on July 9th. The forensic evidence against Tyler Robinson is overwhelming. Well, Benny, did we get answers to any of your questions? Has any of the evidence changed from what you originally told us? No. When you were skeptical back in September and skeptical back in November and skeptical in December, Were you at all whelmed at that time? No, you were very much not whelmed. One could say you were underwhelmed. But now Benny Likes Johnson is overwhelmed. Nothing's changed. Nothing in the evidence has changed. Think about Norma McCorvey. DNA, cellular, geolocation, security camera, financial transactions, eyewitnesses, etc. But perhaps the most demonstrable evidence is the trove of confessions to the murder verified in court today. Guys, we had all that stuff within like 3 days. We had the text messages, we had the discords, all that was available, and Benny was not yet whelmed. He was going to sit back and see the evidence. He thought there was still evidence of state actor involvement. He thought it was very suspicious that there was missing footage of Tyler turning himself in, which, by the way, would undercut some of those confessions, but that's neither here nor there. Tyler Robinson admitted to killing Charlie Kirk in numerous times in public and private. The evidence speaks for itself. Where did he do this in public? Sorry, guys, I hit a button. Where did he do this in public? Robinson left a note for his lover roommate, Lance Twiggs. I had the opportunity to take Charlie Kirk, and I'm going to take it. In text to Twiggs, Robinson directly admitted, I am the one who did it. Sorry. Robinson explained his motive in text. I've had enough of his hatred. Some hate can't be negotiated out. Robinson told Twiggs in person, I wish I hadn't done it. Well, that one right there is actually new. That's one piece of evidence that was not available when he was skeptical in November and December. Robinson praised the rifle after the shooting. Judging from today, I'd say Grandpa's gun does just fine. Again, that was available at the time. Robinson told Twiggs he planned to turn himself in. That was available at the time. Robinson confessed to his parents. Well, that's not exactly true, but that was the rumor at the time. Robinson confessed to law enforcement and surrendered. He did not confess to law enforcement. That's not true, but that alleged confession to Mike Mitchell, former law enforcement, was available at the time. Anyone telling you he didn't do it is lyrical to you for a profit or to free a confessed murderer. Not sure which is worse. You're retarded if you're still listening. All of the evidence remains identical to when he was suspicious. All of it. Almost none of it is new. Almost none of it is new. Here is Benny Johnson the following day, July 10th. Just witnessed something at the Charlie Kirk assassination pre-trial in Utah that has not been made public yet, and you need to hear about it. Erica Kirk asked for us to be here today. Well, that's weird. That's weird. That's weird that you would ask a bunch of influencers to be there with you today. We sat inside the small courthouse in Provo with the family. The judge told the media to turn off all cameras and allow the full enhanced footage of the murder to play. Every movement of Tyler Robinson that day captured in full quality HD, zoomed in, some footage in 4K, tracking all his movements. You can see crystal clear Tyler Robinson's face. No, you can't. The license plate number on his vehicle. No, you can't. Details on his clothing and his actions on the rooftop, particularly actions on the rooftop. No, you can't. And you can time every horrifying detail to the minute Charlie Kirk was murdered. What the public couldn't see was the emotion in the courtroom. Charlie's family sobbing uncontrollably. Erica in Mrs. Kirk Sr.'s arms. Charlie's father comforting them. Just a few feet away sat a pale, lifeless, emaciated Tyler Robinson, who stared at the floor with no remorse as he listened to the weeping. Robinson had never once looked at Erica this entire trial. The entire courthouse gasped when the video was over. We're told from people in the courtroom that just is not true. That did not happen at all. Maybe the Kirks are crying. I don't remember the evidence on that. But multiple people who were there that day said there was no gasp. There was no audible gasp. There was no visible any reaction. Eventually, this footage will be released. Well, thanks to Candace Owens, some of it has been released. Some of it has been released in its actual aspect ratio, actually. It was really tough to relive that day in gruesome detail. The case is overwhelming. Again, guys, this is all the same evidence that was available when he said the case was not overwhelming and he had serious doubts and he thought state actors were involved. This is the same evidence. Literally nothing has changed. Maybe one statement Tyler made to Lance Twiggs. That's it. Allegedly made to Lance Twiggs. Please pray for a speedy trial. Huh? Huh? That's such a weird request, by the way. I've been involved in a lot of trials. I've never had anyone, can you pray for a speedy trial? And to all the tormentors of the Kirk family, you can go to hell where you belong. We pray for justice for Charlie. Well, I agree. Nobody should be tormenting the Kirk family. He and I are in line on that. That's the one part of that entire statement I agree with. Nobody should be tormenting the Kirk family. Charlie's dead. But if you're asking us to stop investigating, stop asking questions, stop asking where people were at what time, if you're asking us to stop looking at video footage that has previously not been made available, like Candace Owens showed of Terrell Farnsworth being really shady behind the tent within mere minutes. I mean, just single-digit number of minutes after the Big Bang. If you're asking us to stop looking into who was the bald man and the 3 passengers in the Dodge Challenger that night, I'm not going to stop. I hope that doesn't torment anyone. I hope it gives them relief that their struggle continues. I think they should get relief from that. And then we have the Fox hit that took place right outside the courtroom, right after the big event. Here is Benny.
We come back into September, Benny.
Yes, absolutely, Kevin. This has been an overwhelming and demonstrable evidentiary bombshell for the prosecution. We've never seen anything like it. I have never seen more of a devastating case. My question to anybody doubting at this point if Tyler Robinson killed Charlie Kirk is, what more do you need?
Apparently more than this, because this is all available back in December when you were questioning what was happening. This is all available back in November when you were saying you weren't satisfied with the status of the investigation. Nothing's changed. The only thing that's changed is your opinion, and it's changed dramatically, kind of like Norma McCorvey's changed from very pro-abortion to very anti. And then on her deathbed, she admitted that she was, in fact, bought off. All right, now let's switch gears. Someone you may have forgotten about. A guy named Stephen Gardner. Stephen Gardner, very early on in this investigation, his shows were getting monster numbers. I mean, upwards of 1 million views, hundreds and hundreds of thousands of views, very large numbers of views for a YouTube channel for a guy who, I mean, he has an okay following, but he's not like, some giant in the space. Stephen Gardner, very early on, had questions. Here is a tweet from Stephen Gardner on September 28th, for example, just raising this issue. I did not even think about this issue until he raised it. Do you think it's odd that from start to finish, Tyler Robinson was on campus 33 minutes and the FBI caught him in 33 hours? 33 minutes till dead, 33 hours until caught. This is too weird. Well, now that you mention it, I agree. It's kind of weird. I'd never thought about it that way. So who is Stephen Gardner? How long has he been involved in this case? Well, let me show you. Here is Stephen Gardner talking about this back in late October. Late October. This is not like the day after. I mean, we're talking about late October. Here is Stephen Gardner on his channel, The Stephen Gardner Show, talking about how long he's been involved in this investigation.
I mean, obviously, I was horrified. I was one of the first YouTubers to go live within minutes of it happening. I had a niece. I had a niece that was down there. She texted into the family, "Charlie Kirk's been shot in the neck." And I was like, I'm on his X account right now. He's handing out hats. And then all of a sudden, boom, the news started to hit. So I immediately went live. I was trying not to cry and throw up. Obviously, it was a very violent murder. But then I started just gathering information, as I do as a journalist, trying to help myself, my audience, family members to understand what was going on. And then as information started to drip out, I started just keeping a list of what's being portrayed in the media, what do we know for real. And then over the course of a couple of weeks, I've just started to build this mental map of what I think happened, the questions that I have, the questions that I don't know that will ever get answered. And then about 2 weeks after, I said to myself, hey, what if I'm just missing a lot of this? I'm going to actually drive to the crime scene and I'm going to put myself into Tyler Robinson's shoes and I'm going to walk the entire crime scene. And after doing that, I've had a lot of holes punched in my own theory about the crime, about the location, about whether it's Tyler Robinson, whether it was a 30-06 bolt action rifle. A lot of questions have come up.
So Stephen Gardner initially covers it within minutes. He's one of the very first people to start covering this. I used to watch his stuff in the immediate, I don't want to say hours, but days after it happened. I watched a lot of his videos. It helped me learn quite a bit about the case. He was very skeptical. He was not as skeptical as some people. I think in the initial thought was pretty solid on it was Tyler Robinson. And then he goes to the crime scene and he's like, hey, wait a minute. This doesn't really make sense. Like, I can't make heads or tails of this. It's interesting that while he was out there, our friend Gary was out there. Little bitty Gary was out there with Stephen Gardner at the exact same time. In fact, they reference each other. Maybe Stephen referenced Gary or Gary referenced Stephen, one or the other, that they were there at the same time looking at the crime scene. And so we fast forward a little bit. And we get a little more Stephen Gardner talking about his early investigation. This is from the same podcast, late October 2025.
Yesterday on my story was I've been able to connect with several people high up in the Turning Point USA organization and ask them questions. Some of them they allowed me to ask on camera. Some of them they said, you can ask and we'll give you the answer we know, but we don't want to be on camera. And then there was stuff shared with me that's off the record that as a journalist, I'm not going to share. But the thing that was shocking to me was they said that the person who, the surgeon, the doctor that was there with them, my guess is from the autopsy report that we now know for a fact happened, is that this bullet comes in just under the jawline. And we've all seen the hole in the video, but apparently it crashes in at an angle on the C2 vertebrae.
Take a look at that diagram and tell me how you come in from a higher angle and hit the C2 vertebrae without hitting his teeth or his nose. Keep in mind, it's going to come at an angle, like a 10% angle, maybe a 9-degree angle. I mean, look at that. How do you hit? This is the C1's up here. It's the one that's kind of supporting the skull. And then the next one down is the C2. How do you hit that without hitting the face? So that's the story he said that they were told by TPUSA. Stephen Gardner says TPUSA tells me about this story, and they say it crashed into the C2 vertebrae and then came down. It's interesting. It's interesting. I wish they were still taking questions from journalists. I have a lot to ask. I would be happy to sit down and have this discussion. Well, did he buy the story? Well, let's find out. We just saw that weird diagram where he had to have been shot at an angle because the loci center was above him and somehow it hit the vertebrae behind his face without hitting his face. So does he buy the story? This is, again, late October.
Is right. So then I started watching the footage from his left. I started watching it from the right. There's no blood missed. There's no blood splatter. Candace Owens was able to see one of the 3 Turning Point USA 4K videos. She said, there's no wound on the back of his head. There's no wound on the back of his neck, right? And so that leads me to believe that this story of the bullet being in there is true. It crashes through all these bones, but I don't know what that bullet is. And I don't, just from everything that I've heard and seen, common sense tells me it's not a 30-06 because that.
I want to pause it right there because one of the common misunderstandings of the role of juries is that they somehow are not allowed to use their own common sense. And he just said, common sense tells you it's not a 30-06. Common sense tells you it's not a 30-06. And then he goes on to explain why, and I'll play a little bit of that, just another 30 seconds or so of that in just a second. But a juror is allowed to sit there and watch this whole trial and say, nope, I've shot stuff with a 30-06. That's nonsense. That's absolutely nonsense. The prosecution, I promise you, is going to try to get anybody who's ever even looked at a firearm off the jury. If somebody comes in there like, oh, yeah, I'm a big game hunter. Okay, you're out. I promise you, watch jury selection. They will do their best to keep hunters off the jury. I can guarantee you, gunsmiths, snipers, former military people, all of them will be excluded if they get their way. Why? Because of what he's talking about right here. Because of what he's talking about.
Would have blown through, and we would have seen blood splatter everywhere. You would have seen a hole through the Turning Point USA banner.
Right.
People behind there would have had a bullet whizzing through the tunnel where they carried his body out. None of that happened. So I do believe the bullet is in him, but it does not make sense to be a 30-06.
Right.
Now, keep in mind, ladies and gentlemen, everything he just said is still true. To this day, everything he just said is still true. He still has his same common sense unless he's lost it somewhere. I don't think he has. Stephen, have you lost your common sense? No, he assures me he has not lost his common sense. He still has it intact. You're not going through any signs of early onset dementia? No, in fact, he's not. He has all his wits about him. Okay, well, then what's the problem? What's the problem? So we would have seen an exit wound. So let's watch a piece of this, because he doesn't just say it once. He actually comes back and visits again. Let me give you the exact date on this. Just October 2. I said late October. I meant early October, ladies and gentlemen. I apologize. But let's go back to this video and let's listen to him continue to have questions about the round that was used.
There, in my assessment, based on my experience with high velocity rifles or medium velocity, there is zero chance that bullet could have even been a miracle, could have stayed in there. So in my view, it is definitely not a 30-06, but what it was is anybody's guess right now.
If everybody was so sure of this at the time, that's a military guy on his left, that's Stephen Gardner on the right, or on Stephen Gardner's right, but our left. You could tell he's military because he got some old military gear in the background. And he looks like an old military guy. Like if I show up at a diner and that guy's there, I'm asking him where he served. Like, where did you serve, sir? Vietnam? Grenada? Where were you? Were you running around the jungles of South America with the cocaine trafficking back in the day? And I digress. But nothing has changed. Everybody was confident at the time. Even Gary, we'll show you in a minute. Everybody was confident at the time. This is not a 30-06. This is ludicrous. The story doesn't add up. It doesn't make sense. Sure, could there have been a bullet in him? Fine. I'm willing to accept that. What I'm not willing to accept is 30-06. It would have, Stephen Gardner said, missed, would have blown out the back of his neck. It would have gone through the tent. It would have whizzed by the people in the breezeway behind him. This guy said, I don't know what it was. I'm willing to accept it's a bullet. I'm unwilling to accept it's a 30-06.
Okay, so here's another thought, Danny, that has just been perplexing my mind. And again, I go back and forth. I don't claim to 100% understand this crime, but we don't know that the gun hidden in the wooded area by someone's chicken coop, we don't know that gun was ever on the roof.
Yeah, good point, Stephen. You're making my case. I'm sure Stephen is still on our side, ladies and gentlemen, because nothing about the gun that was found by the chicken coop has changed since October 2nd. So surely Stephen hasn't changed.
So,
well,
like,
that's exactly where I wanted to go next, because the reason why everybody's saying it's a 30-06 is because that's what we were told by authorities that it was. So, and Gary, go to that other one first. This was from NBC News when they were telling us, and they expressly said a 30-06. The gun recovered was a 30-06 caliber rifle, which indicates that at some point the barrel was replaced with a more modern one, blah, blah, blah. That's what was disclosed. And then they had this photograph here. They said this was the actual weapon. Now, here's one of the first things that, at least from what we can see in this photograph provided by the FBI or the Utah police, whoever it was, is that this does not look like one of those that you can disassemble rather easily, just click and unclick it or whatever. And the impression or the implication being that this is how they found it. Now, if this weapon was intact when the person who's claimed to be the shooter jumped off the roof there, and Gary's been showing that video there, then you're going to have to see this thing sticking out somewhere. And as you watch him all the way across, there's not. Now, a lot of people said, oh, well, it was disassembled and put in his backpack, which we do see. But then that would imply then that he went to the drop-off point, according to the text, reassembled it, put it there to be found, and then that's why we have this picture here. So this just it ain't lining up.
Yeah. Okay. So, but here's the thing: we know they found a gun. We know it was in that wooded area. We know that had a 30-06 casing in it, but we don't know that was on the roof. We don't know that was shot on September 10th at Charlie Kirk. All we know is that there is a casing in a gun that we don't know if that gun was on the roof.
Guys, we still don't know if that gun was on the roof. Everything Stephen Gardner's saying here, I agree with him. I was watching him at the time. This is the type of content I was getting from Stephen Gardner in late September into October. I was getting Stephen Gardner saying, I don't know. This doesn't seem to add up. This doesn't make sense. And I was like, yeah, keep going. And Stephen Gardner was getting massive numbers. I mean, huge numbers on his show. Like I said, many times what he's getting now. Many times.
It could have certainly been Tyler Robinson with a less powerful rifle. It could be somebody else completely, and he is a patsy in some way. Maybe they said, hey, we saw you looking at nasty stuff on the internet. They blackmail him. All we need you to do is drop a gun off in the woods and you're done, right?
And I agree with that assessment. That would be a way to get him involved and make him a good patsy. Hey, we caught you looking at bad images. Well, I don't want to go to jail for bad images. Fine, just drop this gun off in these woods and we will let bygones be bygones relative to the bad images, and we'll see what happens after that. Oh, okay, sure. Happy to. Where do you want me to put it, officer? By the chicken coop. Okay, chicken coop. Anything I should do to it in particular? Rub it on your butt. I mean, I don't know.
So I don't know who was on that roof, and I don't know the rifle, but I'm telling you, based on the bullet and the injury, a 30-06 doesn't make sense. So we have to be careful not to say, well, someone was shot and we found a gun, because we don't know that it was that gun.
Agreed, sir. I can't wait to see how consistent you remain, because nothing has changed about what you just said. This is the point I'm making tonight. Nothing has changed. Nothing has changed. The same thing with Norma McCorvey in the open. Abortion is abortion. It's the exact same procedure. Has the exact same consequences for everyone involved. She was for it, then she was against it. Then she was for it. No, she was, for it, then against it. And then at the end of her life, she was for it again. What changed? Not the facts about abortion. Something else changed. She was bought off. She was paid money. So when someone changes drastically, it's reasonable to ask what changed.
And then there you see him, you running across the grass right there, and you just don't, there's just no rifle that's sticking out there. I mean, you can see, especially when you stop this and go in short, and you can see there's some people coming up. There's some people on the edge of the side of the sidewalk there. If the guy had a gun, there's been people would have seen it, and you could see it here on the video too, even though it's a very low frame rate image there. You would definitely have been able to see if there was a rifle there, and there's no rifle there. It's pretty clear, as you can see it going all the way through. But then that leads to the question is, then why were we told that it was 30-06? Why were we told that it had all these engravings on it, which I have not yet seen? I've so far only heard that that's what was, written on them. We haven't seen any of those, and maybe you have, but I haven't. So now we're getting into the problems here, because if the government is telling us it was that rifle, it was 30-06, and that they have the casings, but then there's virtually no chance on this planet with the laws of physics that wound could have been caused by that round, then what is going on?
Yeah. I just think here's what we know. There was a shot that went into Charlie Kirk's neck. We don't know what it is, but then they find this gun that is a 30-06 bolt action.
I'm going to pull that down because I'm going to have to blur that as well. Nothing's changed. Nothing's changed. So you're going to be shocked in a minute when you see that Tyler Robinson is somehow considered overwhelmingly guilty, according to Stephen Gardner later. So let me just one more clip from this. If I may, let me get it ready. Here you go. One more clip from the great, or the formerly great Stephen Gardner.
See a towel being floppy. So again, they're going to have to put this whole thing together. The trial is going to show us a lot. See, watch this when he comes down over. You can kind of see him lay something down, but then when he jumps,
you see for a moment, right?
Yeah, that towel looks pretty flimsy.
So let me ask you something. Yeah. So let me ask you something, though. The original video that they showed of him, that they released saying that he was walking towards the crime scene, it showed him limping, implying that, well, he had the thing in his pants pocket. That's why he didn't want anybody to see it. Like it wasn't something he had to put together, but he already had. But then as you see here, he's definitely not limping on the way out. And yet I still don't see a weapon. How do you corroborate those two things?
I can't, because Gary, if you go back to the photos where he's coming up the stairwell, you can see he's bending his left leg, but then if there's another photo of him, he's bending his right leg. So from him limping on 800 Street to entering the tunnel and coming up the stairs, he's not limping anymore. It does not appear there's anything in his pants.
I agree with you, Stephen. What changed? I still hold the same position. I haven't changed. You know that old thing that they say about politicians where they go, I didn't leave the Democrat Party left me. Or I didn't leave the Republican Party left me. That is a very common refrain in politics when people want to switch parties for political convenience. But the reality is, I haven't changed on this. You guys have. You guys left me. I'm still in the exact same spot Stephen Gardner was on. I'm still looking at the same video saying, that looks pretty floppy to me. There's no rifle in there. I'm not going to play their whole video because if you want to watch it, it's October 2nd. You can go back and watch it. But if you go back and watch it, they do a deep analysis, a line-by-line analysis of... They do a line-by-line analysis, like a frame-by-frame analysis of the guy jumping off the roof and the towel flopping, and they're like, look, there's no gun there. You can tell me there's a gun. I'm confident there's no gun. There's a towel. There's a bag, maybe. There's potentially a jacket or something. What? I don't know. I mean, you can go through and watch them, try to analyze it. Then, just 3 weeks later, we start to see the Fed Slop flip-flop, just like we saw with Benny Johnson. What Candace has wrong on the Charlie Kirk crime scene? Join Mario Nawfal and me while we discuss fact from conspiracy, and what I found was chilling. The camera did catch Tyler Robinson. His handprint, his towel, the gun, it's all there. Huh? I just watched you for a half hour analyze the footage and say there's no gun. What happened? The FBI has the full picture, phone data, campus tracking, footage, etc. Watch here. You can't tell me that now you see a gun you didn't previously see. It's the same footage. You watched it over and over and over. You guys broke it down frame by frame by frame as he fell down the roof onto the ground and the towel flopped and bent. You told me as you were watching him walk up the stairs, well, his right leg was bending here, his left leg was bending here. I see no gun. There's no gun in his pants. They even talked about there, you can see the clear outline of his phone. If there was anything in his pants, you would have easily been able to pick it up, but you didn't see it. Again, I don't want to show the whole video, but the point is nothing changed. Stephen Gardner changed. Well, did his friends change? Well, we saw he was talking to Mario Nawfal. Who else was he doing business with in this later period? Now we go back to November 8th, so just a few weeks later. Charlie Kirk evidence hearing forces defense to pivot. Join me, Lemmy Emmons, and Jack Posobiec on Human Events, hosted by Jack Posobiec following the Tyler Robinson, Charlie Kirk trial. Well, we know Human Events, I believe, is on the platform with the Charlie Kirk show. We know Jack Posobiec is part of TPUSA. I think it says it right here on his, at TPUSA. So all of a sudden, he's hanging out with different people. All of a sudden, he's getting different access. What about December? In December, we catch Stephen Gardner at AmFest. You guys know AmFest, right? Charlie Kirk's Super Bowl every year. Well, we have Stephen Gardner at AmFest. Who's he with?
So funny. All right, I'm here with Jack Posobiec at AmFest. I have a question for you.
All right, I have an answer.
Tucker Carlson, the news, they were putting out that we were definitely going to war with Venezuela. Everyone tunes in for President Trump's speech. What does he do? He lists all the things he's done for America. Was this on purpose?
This was an information operation. And I said this that evening. I was doing some live coverage on my network. Very clearly, all the hallmarks of a classic deception operation, information operation to go out, not, by the way, to make it think that we're going to be at war, but of course for the Venezuelans, to maybe keep them on their toes, Maduro, but also on all the network news editors to make them say, you know what, maybe I should take that Trump speech. And it was executed flawlessly.
Yucking it up. You heard the yuck there, didn't you? Yuck, 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 yuck. He was literally yucking it up with Jack Posobiec. Wow, Stephen. You're cheap. You're cheap. It's going to cost more than a Jack Posobiec sighting to change my mind. Now we come to May. Stephen kind of went quiet on the issue for a while. And in May, full-fledged Fed Slopper. He did the full Fed Slop flip-flop. For my safety, I will say Tyler Robinson allegedly did it. I think for his safety, what he's saying is, I don't want to get sued and say Tyler Robinson did it. But that's like his wink, wink, nod, nod. I'm confident Tyler Robinson did it. The evidence is overwhelming. He did it. The video of him doing it, getting into position, moving through all campus, all exist. His parents are supporting him, but aren't speaking out because they helped turn himself in. How did he do it if there was no gun on the roof? You were confident there was no gun on the roof. How did he do it? How did he do it? How did he do it if there was no gun in his pants? How did a gun get up there if there was no gun in his pants? How did he get off the roof with a gun if there was no gun in his hands when he jumped off the roof? You see what I'm saying? Nothing has changed. All of the evidence exists in the exact state it did on October 2nd when he was confident he didn't do it. We had the story of his parents having turned him in. That was available on October 2nd. We had the video of Tyler Robinson running off the roof, jumping off the roof. That existed. We had the gun in the woods with allegedly Tyler Robinson's DNA on it. That was the same. We have the same wound dynamics that you said made it physically impossible, that the laws of physics would not support a 30-06 round. No missed, no through and through, no hole in the tent, no whizzing bullets in the breezeway. All of that is identical. But he's hanging out with new people, you see. He's a big wig at AmFest, hanging out with Jack Posobiec. And now he's done the full Fed Slop flip-flop. See, the only one. Is it just Benny and Steven? No, by no means. Let's go to Gare. Let's go to Gare. Gary was convinced initially that there must have been body armor because without body armor, you can't explain the fact that a 30-06 didn't go through and through. Here's a tweet from September 13th. If there's no body armor, there's a lot more that needs to be explained. No exit wound. Shirt being pulled vertically. I'm good with being wrong as long as you can explain those unknowns. Well, Gare, there has been no explanation. The laws of physics remain the same. The shirt did the exact same thing. There's still no exit wound. I didn't leave the Republican Party. The Republican Party left me. I didn't leave Gary's position. Gary's position left me. Gary and I were one and the same. He was pulling also massive numbers at the time. Gary's show was must-see podcasting every single night. Every time he went live, I got a notification and immediately jumped on. What about on September 16th? September 16th. They're talking about the coverage. I will scroll up here and show you a little bit. I don't want to scroll all the way up because this is kind of a long thread here. Cheers, Gary. Been enjoying your coverage on the topic. Good stuff. I made that panoramic to show just how completely visible that position was to practically everyone. A very fishy performance by UVU police and private security contractors. Can't all just be bad luck. Well, we know now Gare is in full cover for all of the people. Everybody did everything perfectly. So what did he have to say? Yeah, thanks. The more you look, the stranger it gets. For some of it, I don't know what to think. That's September 16th. The more you look, the stranger it gets. I agree. The more I look at this case, the stranger it gets. September 20th. Go back to X. They're talking about the about whether it could have been a subsonic round. Here is Gary's response. Seems unlikely to say the least. I need a better explanation than strong bones. That was in the aftermath of Andrew Colvette's Superman neck tweet. I need more explanation than strong bones. What about on September? What date was this? This is October 2 with Kyle Seraphin. October 2 with Kyle Seraphin. I'm going to speed the sound up on this because they both talk too slowly to be intelligible at their normal speed. And I will play this for you here. Let's hear from Gare himself.
It's like Inception and the movie that when they talk about it. But if you hear things enough times, you believe that it has validity because you've heard it enough times. And in the case of the stuff of the disassembly, I think that's exactly what happened. People just worked it into the story, but it's unclear if that was ever officially stated in a press conference.
It was, as a matter of fact. Governor Cox from Utah stated that the rifle was disassembled. I think he was just wrong. But it did work its way into the narrative, and it is incorrect.
Love for someone to tag me on that if you find it, by the way, because I'd like to be able to check it out.
Another two great examples of that is it's been repeated a billion times that there was no autopsy. That's incorrect.
Yeah.
And then.
And I agree with Gary there, that I do believe that there was an autopsy, at least that we have an autopsy report and we're told there was an autopsy. We've not yet seen it. So obviously I remain subject to the reporting.
When we heard a secondhand statement from, I believe it was Andrew Covelt, what the surgeon said, that information was being passed around as, the autopsy said. Well, no, this was a secondhand statement that apparently the surgeon that worked on Charlie said.
Yeah, in the middle of a fundraising post. This is the other thing. Like, also consider motive, consider like why people are doing what they're doing. I mean, Turning Point immediately went to raising money on this, which I also found very distasteful, if I'm being totally honest about it. I did not.
Did you notice Gare shake his head there? I'll go back in case you missed it. Watch Gare. Don't watch Kyle Seraphin. Watch Gare talking about how distasteful TPUSA was. Keep in mind, this is early October.
A fundraising post. This is the other thing. Like, also consider motive, consider like why people are doing what they're doing. I mean, Turning Point immediately went to raising money on this, which I also found very distasteful, if I'm being totally honest about it. I did not like any.
Yeah, and so I agree again with Gary back there. I didn't leave Gary. Gary left me. I didn't leave Gary. Gary left me. I still find it distasteful.
Any of that. I don't think you need to do that. Maybe that's what Charlie would have wanted. What the hell do I know? But I think it's kind of gross that the first thing they were doing was sending out text messages and fundraising. And they were also out there promoting this like he was a superhuman made of steel, just like Superman. Like, that's so gross, man. To me.
I agree.
I agree, Gare. I miss rational Gary. I miss Gary. I miss this Gary. Gary 1.0. That's Gary 2.0. He's brash. He's mean. He just calls people names. Like, if you look up cuss words on Gary's X timeline, you saw almost none before the last few months. And then he's just gone psycho with the cuss words, calling everybody names who disagrees with him. I miss this Gary. He was lovable. He was light. He was fun. He was engaging. This is the Gary I feel like really exists somewhere. Not sure where it is these days, but it was somewhere.
Like, if I got shot doing what I do, and I think there's a very, very low probability of that being the case, but like, I don't think my wife would be talking to anybody. I think she would just take care of my babies and raise them. And hopefully someone would come in and help them. My parents would step up and that would be it. It's like, all that response, people were in the funeral, they did the pyrotechnics. Maybe that's their jam, but man, that turned me off in a big way too. Maybe I'm just too old for that stuff, but I thought it was gross.
Well, I'm going to give some of them a little bit of a pass on that because number one, there's not a playbook for that. The other thing too, if you look at Andrew Covelt and
Andrew Covelt, ladies and gentlemen, that's who he was talking about. Andrew Covelt. Well, now he knows Andrew Colvett's name really well. He knows him so well, he gets texts while he's on air from Andrew Colvett of supposed alibis. So apparently they've had a real change of heart. Well, that was October. What happened in November? What happened in November? In November, we get this interview. We get this interview with Brian Harpole, lead security contractor for Charlie Kirk. We get that interview on November 16th. November 16th. And on November 17th, the very following day, we see a brand new Gare bear emerge from his hole, from hibernation, perhaps. Hibernation. Details don't matter. They muck up this fun, choose-your-own-adventure, murder mystery lifetime drama that Charlie's assassination has been turned into. She's destroying TPUSA and Charlie's legacy under the guise of justice for Charlie. Who is she? Well, that's Candace Owens. His first tweet that we could find about Candace Owens. Do you know how many times he tweeted about Candace Owens in the first 30 days after that interview with Brian Harpole? Keep in mind, that was the first negative tweet we could find about Candace Owens from Gare Bear. You want to see the Fed Slop flip-flop? You want to see it in real time? You want to see something equivalent to Norma McCorvey walking out of the abortion clinic where she was the receptionist and becoming an abortion opponent and the leading voice of the anti-abortion movement, only to be revealed later she was bought off? Having never tweeted a negative tweet about Candace Owens prior to that interview with Brian Harpole, in the following 30 days, he tweets 234 times about Candace Owens in a negative capacity. 234. He quite literally turned on a dime. There was the pre-Brian Harpole Gare Bear 1.0. Pre-Brian Harpole Gare Bear was delightful. He was kind. He was funny. When he disagreed with people, he was like, well, we just agree to disagree. Okay. He was skeptical. I'm not sure how the shirt rose like that. That doesn't make sense to me. I'm not sure why there was no exit wound. That doesn't make sense. Then we got a lot of questions. The more you look into it, the weirder it gets. That was Gary 1.0. He does an interview with Brian Harpole, having never tweeted negatively about Candace Owens, and over the next 30 days, tweets 234 times about Candace Owens in a negative way. 234 times. I'll give you a taste of what those look like. We've done the search. We'll just scroll through. These are not in any particular order. These are just the order X serves them up when you search for them. Candace Owens meeting with Erica reaction video. Was she lying? So because they went to Delaware, that corroborates her whole story and debunks the claims by the guy who provides a detailed analysis and shows all of his data when Candace never shows hers. Got it. She's defending Candace. I'm assuming that question is rhetorical. A Candace cultist advises that speculation is not good look for a large platform. Also asserts Candace has never claimed TPUSA is complicit in the murder, but they're covering it up. The irony of the comments coming from the Candace brainwashed, blah, 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 blah. Why do the majority of accounts trolling mine and defending Candace Owens look like this? As long as she's still speeding lies, how long are you going to troll my account? It's the beginning of your entire identity. Given your response, I must be over the target. How much is Candace paying you? And on, 234 of those in the 30 days following the Brian Harpole interview. Never one time before that. I will raise here what I said last night. I believe that Telegram message that Andrew Wilson released, if real, I'm taking it at face value for right now because I don't have anything in my hand that says it's fake. If it's real, I believe it was sent to Brian Harpole. Could have been Dan Flood, could have been someone else, but I think it was Brian Harpole. And then we get this awkward tweet. This is great, by the way. In light of the news this week, this is great. Well, let me scroll up here. I got to show you. So he's reacting to this video. You remember this video, right? I know, because I have his phone.
Had any inkling that this might come his way and that he intentionally chose to move forward with faith in God?
It's interesting because I have unbelievable amounts of death threats. My kids have kidnapping threats, death threats. Our whole team has death threats.
And let me denounce those. That's nonsense. There should be no threats to anybody.
We knew that there was always going to be a threat, but Charlie and I we promised each other we would never live in fear. And he would say, if they're going to get me, they're going to get me. But he was not messaging people the day before saying, I'm going to be murdered. They're coming after me. Someone's going to kill me. He didn't say that. And I have his cell phone.
He didn't say that. And I have his cell phone. Well, that's what Gare was reacting to. And here is how he reacted. I'll take Erica's word over Candace. He doesn't use words like vehicle Owens. Gare, I got bad news. Candace was right. You were wrong. I wonder if he's going to issue a correction on that tweet. He should quote tweet himself and say, well, I guess Candace won, Gary 0 on this one. No, friends. He's never going to do that. He's never going to do that. But I think that's hilarious. He quotes Erica saying he didn't receive any text messages about death threats the day before. He didn't send any text messages about death threats the day before. And I know. I have his phone. I'll believe Erica over Candace. That's foolishness. Candace is obviously wrong because I tweeted about her 234 times in the month after I met with Brian Harpole. Well, that's a little awkward. That's a little awkward considering the news this week that, in fact, he was sending exactly those messages, as Candace said. Hey, Britta. I hope you're not drinking tonight, Britta. Okay, now, November 22nd. November 22nd. It's very clear now there was never an investigation into Charlie's death. It's an opportunistic political hit job from the left to ensure Democrats win in 2028. Charlie and TPUSA won 2024 for Trump. They killed Charlie, and now they're attempting to finish off TPUSA. Now, I don't necessarily have a check stub or something that says Gary was paid off by TPUSA or Gary's turned on a dime the day after he met with Brian Harpole and became a full TPUSA shill, and there's some sort of connection there. But this is about as clear evidence as you can get. This was the same week of his interview with Brian Harpole. And all of a sudden, he's full of talking points. It's an opportunistic political hit job from the left to ensure Democrats win in 2028. That's been their message from the beginning. I can assure you, I have no interest in Democrats winning in 2028. That's not my motivation. I just want to know who killed Charlie Kirk, how, and why. So at one point, you seem to also, Gary 1.0. Charlie and TPUSA won 2024 for Trump. I've never really bought that, but that's clearly a TPUSA talking point. They killed Charlie, and now they're attempting to finish off TPUSA again, ladies and gentlemen. I don't have a check stub, but I've got that tweet. I've got that tweet that tells me he's at least enamored. And what happens the following month after assaulting? After assaulting for, 234 tweets in the month? December 15th, Gary's first appearance on the Charlie Kirk Show. I don't have that link, but it's there. It's there. Now, ladies and gentlemen, what do we make of this? We know Gary's become probably the most virulent supporter, perhaps, of TPUSA in the aftermath of Charlie Kirk's death, even more than people that work there. He's become the most obnoxiously rude and nasty, well, until they employed Smoke Boy, the most obnoxiously rude and nasty, hate-filled, cussing, name-calling detractor of Candace Owens. That all began, exactly. We can trace it to the precise day. The precise day that he interviewed Brian Harpole. Is this kayfabe? Is this whole, we fired Brian Harpole, is this just kayfabe? Is this fake? Is this not real? Is this whole releasing this message that appears, in my opinion, to throw Brian Harpole under the bus? Is this just some sort of fake act to act as if Brian Harpole is somehow in opposition to TPUSA? And where's Dan Flood in all this? You remember Dan Flood? Where's Dan Flood in all this? He's never seen in public ever again. He doesn't appear on any shows. He doesn't weigh in on anything. That man's laying low. He's supposedly still employed by TPUSA, but there's no evidence of it. He's not on their website. He's not at any events. Does he work from home? Does he ever go to Phoenix? Does he travel at all? And now let's get to everybody's favorite. I don't even want to cover her, actually. I don't want to give her the attention. I do want to talk real quickly about something that happened over on X in July 6th to be exact. We get this tweet out of nowhere. There's a woman named Data Republican, small r, she says. Thread, Candace Owens on Erica Kirk in her own words. Before the investigation, Candace spent 40 episodes defending Erica Kirk. She called her genuinely such a nice person. She swore that nobody outside of my husband and Erica Kirk had the power to shut her up. She told her audience she would stop if Erica asked. Erica asked her to stop. Candace didn't stop. She couldn't. The investigation had become her primary subscription product. I would argue that Candace was doing quite well before Charlie Kirk died. She was a household name before Charlie Kirk died. So she revoked Erica's authority the only way she could, by making Erica untrustworthy. And then they pulled together this long thread about how Candace Owens is actually a problem, and she is advocating, whether she knows it or not, for people to harm Erica Kirk. I disagree with that. I think she's been nothing but consistent on nobody should harm anybody. There's been enough harm in this case. Why would there be any more harm? But Data Republican goes through and highlights a report called Permission to Kill, how Candace Owens built a digital assassination campaign against Erica Kirk. Candace says this report is a Zionist conspiracy against her. The report is her own footage, her own audience, her own words on her own show. Well, I mean, yeah, that's the foundation of it, but the conclusion is a Zionist conspiracy against Candace Owens. Every stage of the permission structure is on camera. Nothing was taken out of context because nothing needs to be. The only question left is whether she stops before the audience finishes what she started. Oh, this is really bad. So this is July 6th. There's a report that comes out from some pro-Zionist organization, and they say Candace Owens is invoking violence. She's enraging her audience to violence. And it's highlighted by Data Republican. She gets immediately spun up and sent all over the internet. Well, because TPUSA can't go grab the report and say, look, that'll be too obvious. We got to put somebody between the report and us if you're TPUSA. So they grab Data Republican and they start shipping her tweets all over the place. See, even independent, fact-based people, numbers people, they believe Candace is doing these things. And I had no idea where this woman came from. So now we learn today that she is, in fact, a government employee, Data Republican. She's a government employee for the Department of War. Jessica Pounds, a.k.a. Data Republican, a Department of War employee, alleges that Undersecretary of State Sarah Rogers is attempting to entrap her by providing her with information to leak under the guise of offering a scoop. I'll tell you about this in a second, but the Pentagon has confirmed she serves at the Department of War as a special government employee. Oh, wait a minute. Hold on. Let's back up a second. Because now in August, we're learning she's a Department of War employee. And this Department of War employee takes to her own personal Twitter account, does not disclose that she works for the Department of War, and launches an assault calling Candace Owens a digital assassin. Well, that seems odd. That seems like it should have been disclosed at the beginning. You guys remember Graham Allen, also a Department of War employee at one point. She previously worked at Doge. We are not doxing her here. This is where she doxed herself. This is Jessica Pounds, a.k.a. Data Republican. I've been doxed. Rather than let others control the narrative, I'm addressing this directly. My name is Jennica. Excuse me, I've been calling her Jessica. Jennica Pounds. I recently resigned from my job to pursue Doge-adjacent efforts full-time. While my background check is still in progress, my ultimate goal is to work with the administration to cut waste and improve efficiency. Oh, she was investigating NGOs, nonprofits. She was investigating nonprofits. She popped back up this week in a public dispute with the Undersecretary of State for the United States of America, a woman named Sarah Rogers. Woman named Sarah Rogers. These are my text messages and documents. The markings are FOIA redactions required even for voluntary disclosure. To prove this isn't a trap, I will happily disclose the documents myself. Here they are. I'll tell you right now, none of this makes any difference. The documents, the markings, none of this makes any difference. The only reason, in my opinion, this became a story is because it revealed that one of the chief assets used to attack Candace Owens was a Department of War employee. She went to work for the Department of War in July. On July 6th, she's immediately deployed on X as an asset to attack Candace Owens, to give legitimacy to some weird report that takes clips from Candace Owens' show and says, this is evidence that she's trying to get someone to harm Erica. Well, that's nonsense. The report was nonsense. The conclusion was nonsense. Data Republicans' interpretation of it was nonsense. I don't have the exact hire date, but the it's too close in proximity. Going to work for the Department of War in July, and on July 6th, you're out here assaulting Candace Owens? Sounds like a busy first week if you were already employed there, and I believe she may have been. Well, we got the idea she might be a government employee when she said this on X in her spat with the Undersecretary of State, Marco Rubio's Undersecretary of State, by the way. This is an invariant. If I had done as you requested, I would be a criminal right now. It's one thing to try and fire me. It's another to rob my children of their mother. Huh? Fired? I remember reading that and thinking, fired from where? Where were you working that this strange story about leaked documents? And just to back up a little bit, here's what was happening. The Undersecretary of State, for some reason, took documents that were fully, I believe, acceptable for release because she eventually released them herself. And instead of just putting them on X or putting them on the government website or, getting them out somehow, she goes to a Department of War employee, Jennica Pounds. A weird name, Jennica. I've never heard that before. But she goes to this Pounds lady and says, here, you leak them. You get credit for leaking them. You look like you have good sources. Well, no one knew she was a government employee. No one knew she was a government employee. So is this how the administration operates? The Trump administration, the Secretary of State's office takes documents and gives them to somebody at the Department of War to leak out on their personal X account? This is how we do business in this country? When we want to get information out, that's how we do it? Well, it kind of reminds me of what TPUSA does. When they want to get information out, they don't just release it themselves. They give it to Gare to put up on screen. They give it to House and Habit, some sort of home improvement blogger to put up on a screen. They give it to Smoke Boy to put up on a screen. That way they've got a person between them and the information. They get to distance themselves. If it turns out to collapse and the narrative falls apart and it's a fake document, they can say, it wasn't us. I don't know why they put it up. No idea what they were doing or where they got it. They must have made it themselves. I don't know. It puts a layer of protection. You're using a cutout between the information as we have it and the information as the public receives it. So this obviously, how the government operates, is also how TPUSA operates. Same way. But now we learn she works for the Department of War. She admits it herself. This isn't just me making it up. I'll put this up here. I began working as a special government employee for the Department of War in July to serve the country in a more hands-on way. My press credentials at the Pentagon expired in June, and I did not seek a renewal of those credentials. I currently am not a member of the Pentagon Press Corps and no longer attend briefings or events as a journalist. I began working as a special government employee for the Department of War in July. I also began attacking Candace Owens as a digital assassin in July. Do you see the connection? Do you see the problem that raises in my mind when you have government assets, actual government employees, special government employees attacking Candace Owens and calling her a digital assassin, and then being used by TPUSA and all their influencers to retweet and quote tweet and spread this idea that all this neutral third party that no one's really ever heard of, she's just a numbers gal. She just was a numbers gal, and she just happened upon this report, and oh man, she draws the same conclusion. Guys, it looks to me like the Department of War is attacking Candace Owens. I apologize for noticing. I apologize for picking up what they're putting down. It's a cush gig if you can get it. It's a cush gig if you can get it. According to Mel, the village crazy lady, when she examined her subscription fee and number of subscriptions she has on X, concludes she's already bringing in about $28,000 per month in X subscriptions. And a government employee. And I can't imagine they're paying her peanuts, right? So it's a cush gig if you can get it, but I want to go back in time because I want to flash back to a Candace Owens show where the United States military might have been involved in something. I'm not sure, because right now we have a Department of War employee attacking Candace Owens under her personal X account, however that works. Everywhere I've ever worked, they have social media policies, and they're like, you can't say anything controversial on social media, which is why for several years I was like a dud on social media because I was working for a company that had that policy. I was like flamboyant on social media and attacking and having fun and picking fights. And then for like 4 or 5 years, I go completely silent and I just putting up pictures of my dog. And then I get out of that employment and back to social media having fun again. Most employees have this policy. I would hope the Department of War would have this policy. Speaking of the Department of War, what about other military offices getting involved in the TPUSA shenaniganry?
Apparently, the White House military office sent out communications shortly after our alleged shooting, right? I feel like Austin Powers, the shooting, the one that took place at the press correspondence dinner, which then everyone started speaking about how we needed a ballroom. And I will say right off the bat, of course, it's not exactly weird that they would want to coordinate messaging, right? Just to be clear, because if indeed the commander-in-chief's life was truly at risk, the president, as well as the number 2, the Veep, also in the room, he gets taken out. If they're both potentially in the line of fire, then yes, it would absolutely be appropriate for our military to be coordinating messaging with the nation, to the nation, about their safety. Everyone's okay. It's everybody, this has been resolved. But something else happened. So to jog your memory, the shooting took place at 8:36 p.m. Eastern, okay? That's when the Secret Service began firing at one another, so we've since learned. Then at 9:25 p.m., so a little under an hour later, Sarah Seidner, you'll recall, of CNN, she became the first person on social media to upload the now infamous I Want to Go Home video of Erica Kirk. And we can show you that that's when she uploaded it. There is a tool where you can look at the metadata of Instagram posts. She posted it onto Instagram. Here it is. In the corner there, it will tell you that she posted it at 1:25, and you are looking at Universal Time, okay? So 1:25 a.m. Universal Time, that is 9:25 p.m. Eastern Time, okay? What happened next at approximately 9:49 p.m., so less than 20 minutes later after that video went out, the White House military office sent out an updated communication. Oddly, within that communication, they describe an amendment to the Erica Kirk video clip, okay? The traction of which they were monitoring. Now, I can get behind the military office wanting to communicate. Don't quite understand why this moment would be something that they were monitoring and then sending out language about how they wanted this to be the focus of the evening. That point seems to me to be a bit odd.
I'll pause it there because we don't need to rewatch the whole show, but to remind you of what was happening. 8:36, we have the bang bang. 9:25, we get the upload from the CNN correspondent. There's no evidence the CNN correspondent took that video, by the way, but we get the upload. I just want to go home. Okay. Yeah, we've been asking you to go home this whole time, so this is very convenient. We agree with you. We want you to go home. But then less than 20 minutes later, the White House military office allegedly sending out an email saying we're monitoring the traction of that video. How did they even know that video existed in 20 minutes? Like, you would have to be on this random CNN correspondent's Instagram page and then monitoring the distribution of that and seeing, oh, this is doing really well. This is getting a hockey stick type graph. We need to really lean on this. Or, I mean, that's option A. They just happened upon the video like everyone else did. They happened to notice it was doing well and said, let's make this a focus. That's option A. Option B is that they were responsible for the video. And that's a terrifying option, but I guess there's an option C, that it's all fake and there was no email. And, I don't believe that option, but the option's on the table that the email didn't exist. I believe Candace when she says she got it and it's legit, but some people don't. That's fine. But if it's legit, we're really only left with two options. Either the U.S. military, in the 19 or so minutes after the video was uploaded, is monitoring the situation so closely relative to this video that they just happen to decide this is where we're going to put all our marbles on this. Like, this was before all the ballroom posts, by the way. And we're going all in on this video. In 19 minutes, you're making that decision? I mean, that's assuming they saw it the second it got uploaded. Well, you can't even assume that because they said they're monitoring the data and it's doing really well. So you'd have to think 10, 15 minutes they were monitoring it, watching its progress and watching how it was being distributed. And that's when they decided to jump on it. So within 5 minutes, they sent an email saying that this should go out. I'm telling you guys, the timeline, if that email is real, the timeline is horrific for the administration. It makes it look, the timeline makes it look, and I'm not suggesting this is true, but the timeline makes it look like the whole thing was a setup. Have you ever heard anything else about that shooting that night, by the way? Have you heard anything else about any updates on the K's, how Cole Thomas Allen is doing, anything at all? The guy just happened to drive across the country just in time to bust in the White House Correspondents' Dinner with a shotgun. It was suspicious from the beginning. It's even more suspicious that a military office might be involved. That's very suspicious to me. I don't know. Again, I'm taking it at face value that the email's real. But that's very suspicious that within 20 minutes, they're sending out an email going, hey, this video is going online. It's doing really well. We should lean on this. Make this the topic of conversation. So it sounds like, if I may be skeptical for a moment, it sounds like the military is really pushing Erica Kirk here. We've got a Department of War employee, Jennica Pounds, leaning on Candace Owens to stop her investigation because it's endangering Erica's life. We've got the White House military office, again, if the email's real, leaning on this video, supporting Erica Kirk, making her the center point of the entire event. It's a little unusual to me, if I do say so myself. A little unusual, if you say so. Here is the evidence of the potentially up to $30,000 a month this woman is getting on X. I don't know anyone who has 30,000 X subscribers. $3 subscription, $30,000 a month on nearly 10,000 subscribers. Again, if that's accurate, I don't know if that's accurate, but that's ludicrous if it's accurate. That's ludicrous. I think the biggest influencers in the country don't have 30,000 subscriptions. I have no idea what Candace's is. That would be a monster number, if we're being honest. That would be a very high number of subscriptions. You're telling me 10,000 people are interested in what this woman has to say enough that they pay her monthly money? I don't know. Before July 2026, let's take a look at her Twitter feed relative to Candace. We have all her tweets here archived up to July 1, 2026. A little indisputable. Candace and Charlie had a falling out. Candace did not claim to repair that until after he died. Okay. Not spoken much at all on Candace or Tucker, precisely because I believe it is valid to feel betrayed on Iran. Okay. Just scrolling through here, she doesn't seem to really be talking about Candace that much. FYI, September 16, the earliest reference from Candace on that TPUSA group chat, which I could find. That was March 23rd. Jeremy Boring has a pretty good explanation for Candace. This is March 9. Tucker, a lot harder to explain away. Okay. I mean, nothing before July that indicates she's trying to harm Erica or that her behavior might somehow put Erica in jeopardy. Now, since July, since going to work for the Department of War, we can evaluate her X feed yet again. August 23rd, Tom Nichols and Candace Owens team up. The weirdest thing in all this, to be sure. I caused a lot of online furor this past weekend, caught the eye of Candace Owens. No, the 4K footage was never the rooftop clip, so she's now going after Candace Owens in her capacity as a commentator on this issue. Conceptual James is genuinely a friend of mine. He genuinely caught on to the anti-Semitic problem long before anyone else on the right. So now she's going after Candace as an anti-Semite. Actually, Candace herself is the hegemony. Every time I've spoken out against Tyler Robinson or being anti-Israel for that matter, I lose followers. The pattern repeats across every influencer I've talked to. They were genuinely afraid to speak out against Candace. It's obvious there was something that changed before she went to work for the Department of War and after. After she goes to the Department of War, she's obsessed with Candace Owens as an anti-Semite. And I'll play that in a second. And she believes now, after going to work for the Department of War in July, she believes Candace is somehow endangering the life of Erica Kirk. She did not believe that before July, or at least she didn't talk about it. I'm playing this raw because I haven't seen this, but Daisy thinks I need to see it. So I'm playing it. We're going to find out what happens. This is Smoke Boy, talking about your humble host being a leftist.
By the way, that show was titled Why Have Leftists Become So Violent by Charlie Kirk. Interestingly enough, before we do the reveal on the message, so that you understand, your boy Baron Coleman also isn't very based, and he runs the exact same script. And I'm going to prove it to you right now.
Hold on. Did he say I'm not based? Okay. I'll be interested to see this, sir. I'll give you some based content if you need it.
What I'm going to play for you is audio of Coleman.
Only audio? Come on. Put my pretty face up there, Smoke Boy.
Well, actually, I'll just show it to you.
Yeah, there we go. Come on, baby. Let's see it.
One thing it was such a hard, tough, straight ticket voting.
Yeah.
I think that's changed. I don't think you have that much straight ticket voting as you had this time.
Oh, this is going to be fat alcoholic Baron. I remember this interview. That guy on the left right there, the guy you're seeing, is Steve Flowers. He is a political legend in the state of Alabama. And Steve Flowers is one of the most well-known political figures in Alabama. He's a legend, and he was kind enough to invite me on his weekly program. I was happy to oblige. I went on there, I think, 2 or 3 different times just to provide some commentary. I have no idea what I said here, but I just wanted to warn you. When I said my pretty little face, this was old, fat, alcoholic Baron.
Yeah. Historically, you mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, probably.
Oh, and country sounding because I'm a chameleon. When I get in a room with Steve Flowers, I start talking like I was born in Helena, Alabama.
Not again. I think there was so much frustration with the way Trump's been treated among Republicans and glee among Democrats, frankly. So much frustration with the way Kavanaugh was treated in particular. They went out there and said no Democrat benefits. I mean, your average Republican voter went out there and said, I'm not voting for a Democrat at any level for anything. I mean, I took that attitude in there, Steve, frankly. I'm partisan. People know that. But in the past.
Wait a minute. He's trying to make me out to be a liberal, and I said I'm partisan. No Democrat will benefit at all. Okay. I honestly don't remember where I go with this, but I'm learning with you, ladies and gentlemen.
I've historically split my ticket up a little bit.
I've historically split my ticket up a little bit.
Well, yeah, because there are some bad Republicans out there, and I'm not going to support them.
I see somebody on the other side that's a little better, I think.
Yeah.
That's it?
If he sees somebody on the other side, he's going to vote for them.
Hold on, that's
if he
it?
thinks that they're better, just a little bit,
No.
right?
No, yeah, that's it.
Oh, hold
Just
on.
that.
Oh, that was it?
That's it. Just the clip. You're a lib.
I'm sure I gave some kind of an explanation there.
That's all he put.
Do we know where that came from?
You want the video of you? I can pull it.
Yeah, I think the show's called Alabama Journal, if I remember. Maybe not.
I'll grab
I can't
it.
Remember. What's
I'll
it
get it.
called? Alabama
I'll-
Politics with Steve Flowers. Is that what it's called?
I don't know, but I can find it in 2 minutes.
All right. I'm curious. Oh, here, I found it. So now all I got to do is search the transcript for split ticket. This should be easy. Split. Let's see here. Oh, here we go. Yeah. So I'm going to play it in its entirety. All right, Smoke Boy. You get what's coming to you, because now we're going to get the context that you didn't want people to see. Now, to be clear, ladies and gentlemen, this is a high risk. I am so confident in my own commentary that I will play it when I don't know what it says. That's how confident I am in my own commentary. I'm confident no matter what I said, it was based as hell. But we'll find out. Am I really a lib?
In there, Steve, frankly. I'm partisan. People know that. But in the past, I've historically split my ticket up a little bit. If I see somebody on the other side that's a little better, I think. Not this year. There was no.
You just pulled a lever.
I did. I stuck with
Everybody
the
did.
Republican bullet.
Uh-huh.
Actually, no. There was one race I was skipping. I'm not going to say it on there. There was one race I was going to skip. So I did individually bubble all of them except the one. But I did.
That was Kay Ivey. I would refuse to vote for Kay Ivey under any circumstances. So that was the only, and she's the current governor of Alabama, and she's termed out, and she's like 253 years old. She was a long time leftist Democrat who switched to become a Republican when it was convenient, and I wasn't going to reward that behavior. Does that make me some kind of a leftist?
This year, I was not going to let a Democrat at any level benefit from their antics the last couple of years.
That's based as hell. What are you talking about?
Well, you literally said you voted Republican right after he cut the clip.
I voted straight Republican this year. I don't remember what year that was. I think that was 2014 or 16. I don't remember. Maybe it wasn't 2018.
It looks like 1987. So.
No, stop it. I don't remember exactly what year that was. I think it was 2014. Hell, what year was that? Let me look real fast. What year was that? That was 2018. 2018, man.
Oh.
Yeah, that was only 8 years ago, ladies and gentlemen. Look at all that. Look at not a gray hair on that beard. Maybe a couple
Like
around the chin.
everyone, look at what not drinking does to you.
Yeah.
Everyone
yeah.
says you've glowed up. You glowed up. So
Yeah, put down the bottle. All right, let me let it continue for just a second, because I'm curious what he cut out.
Let's go to the individuals in the Republican Party.
Oh, well, we're not going to do that. That's boring. No one cares who ran in local office in Alabama back in 2018. But my point is, there's nothing wrong with splitting your ticket a little bit. If the Republican running is lousy, don't vote, or vote for the other guy if he's better. What's wrong with that? That's based as hell. That's based as hell, particularly in Alabama on local elections. And this is what Smoke Boy's leaving out in context. Alabama in 2010 was a mortal stranglehold Democrat state. The Gingrich Revolution happened in 1994. Most of the country flipped over, and Democrats were swept out of office. And particularly around the South, Republicans just couldn't lose at the statewide level. They just couldn't lose. But at the local level, Republicans were still very much vulnerable because everybody kind of knew the local Democrat, and they knew he wasn't Obama. They knew he wasn't Bill Clinton. They knew he was just, their neighbor. The guy who run the insurance agency down the road, and he's a conservative guy. He's just always been a Democrat, right? Well, in 2010, the Republicans it was the Tea Party wave. It was Obama gets elected in 08. He takes office in January 20th of 09. And in 2010, Republicans were mad as hell, and they were done with the Democrat Party. They swept out every Democrat. I think the Republicans won like 75% of the legislative seats in Alabama that year, where the year before they'd won like 25 or maybe 35. I mean, it was just a total, you had all these new people come in. What happened is all the Democrats were like, oh, crap, we can't remain Democrats. There's no place for Democrats in Alabama anymore. So they just all switched and became Republicans. But they were the same Democrats they'd always been. And when I would come across them in an election, I wouldn't vote for them. I wouldn't vote for them because I voted against them in the primary. And I told people, if you're going to have leftists, if you're going to have left-leaning people run as a Republican, I'm not going to reward you in November. So the battle is decided in Alabama in almost every race in the primary. And if you're going to run some washed-up Democrat against an actual conservative Tea Party-type Republican in the primary, and I vote for the Tea Party guy and your guy wins, I'm not voting for him in the fall. I'm not. That's a little bit how I feel right now. If you guys want to run these AIPAC people, that's fine. You can win the primary. Don't expect my vote in the fall. I'm not going to be there for you. And I think a lot of people feel that way, and it's going to cause a lot of pain. It's going to cause a lot of pain. I can't help you. Can't help you. I think it's based as hell. I love how they clip stuff up in order to try to make you look bad. Just play it in context. Just hit play. You don't have to stop it and jump ahead and jump back and then cut it off right before I said I was not going to let any Democrat benefit because of the way they treated Donald Trump. I mean, that's what happened. That is exactly the context of it. The Democrats treated Donald Trump so poorly in 2016 and 2017 that by the time 2018 came along, I thought, I'm not going to support a single one of them. I'm voting straight Republican. Even races I previously would have skipped, I'm going to vote for that Republican. I'm not going to let anyone benefit, except in the case of Kay Ivey. I did not vote in her race. I proudly have never voted for Kay Ivey. Not for lieutenant governor, not for governor. She is not my cup of tea. Anyway, I have no problem with that. Thank you, Smoke Boy. Even though you try to make me look bad, you made me look good. And ladies and gentlemen, don't spend much time around Steve Flowers. You end up talking like a redneck. All right. Let's do this. I'm not going to play that. I had one more clip I was going to play from Gare, but I'm not going to. I'm letting you off the hook, Gare, because we're an hour and 55 minutes into the program. That's how it works. You're getting off the hook. Should I play it? Yeah, might as well. This is actually from X. He just put it up not long ago. I haven't heard this either. So we'll play it sight unseen. This is a fun night. This is experiment night.
Man, it is hilarious.
Hilarious.
Just how thin-skinned and sensitive Baron Coleman is to any pushback to his lies. He flips out every single time.
Again, I'm going to say this about the lies. I am the fastest person to correct something that I've gotten wrong. If you ever find that something I've said is wrong, not a conclusion, not I look at a set of facts and conclude something different, but like if I told you it was a 308 in the woods and not a 30-06 and I got that wrong, I would correct that. You know, it's not a lie. It's just I got it wrong.
You guys seen him crash out on his live streams against people that ask him tough questions? This is what, like, Baron Coleman constantly defames people.
I don't defame anybody.
I've had these same things happen to me.
I just show you the facts, Gary. If you don't like those facts, stop being yourself.
He sat there and said that I said that Mitch Snow wasn't there and I was controlled by TPUSA.
I've already apologized for that. Should I show that apology in full? I did apologize.
He said this like 37 times. Like that's the only thing he still does. You already apologize.
I apologize for it. I obviously got it wrong. And I said the reason, Gary, I got it wrong is nobody watches you anymore. And I don't watch you either. I just assumed that you said that. And I apologize for assuming that.
Okay. Which was absolutely false. He can smear, defame people all.
Don't smear and defame.
All day long. He can lie. He can come up with these ridiculous speculative theories.
Has Gary taken a shower in like a week? He looks terrible. No. I mean, Gary, comb your hair if you're going to be on TV. Trim your beard. I mean, look how puffy his face is. He looks terrible. Did he just wake up?
I just want to explore what's possible, essentially, what he does. But when you come after him, man, does he act like a little girl. He is so sensitive. It really does crack me up. It really cracks me up of his reaction, because when you come after him, he's like, Gary, now I'm doing a whole podcast about you today. Oh, go ahead, Barron. Go ahead, Barron.
I did, Gary. I showed how you flipped on a dime the day you met with Brian Harpole and became a 2PUSA lackey. I did show that, and how you had really never before gone after Candace Owens, and then you went after her 234 times, starting in the first month, starting the day after the Brian Harpole interview. If you don't like facts, Gary, be somebody else. Be better. Be better. Start with getting a little exercise or sleep or putting the bottle down. You look terrible.
Be Gary 1.0.
Yeah, be Gary 1.0. I liked Gary 1.0.
All you have is lies.
Notice he never points out the lies. He just says I lie. I'm happy to make corrections, Gary. Send me whatever you want me to correct. I'll look at it. If I was wrong, I'll correct it.
The thing that I've said about you is objectively the truth.
Has he even brushed his teeth? I mean, I can almost feel his breath. It's like fogging up the camera. Knock a buzzard off a doo-doo wagon. I can smell him from here. Gary, get in the shower right now. Quit, Gary.
And you can't stand it. You can't stand to be exposed.
I'm not exposed. I put myself on the camera 20 hours a week, Gary. I say lots of stuff. I play old clips of me sight unseen because I stand by every word I've ever said. And if anybody has an issue with any of it, please, by all means, realbaronpodcast@gmail.com. I'll evaluate it if I was wrong, if I said something out of turn, if I defamed somebody, if I implied something that was incorrect or that you think is unfair. I'll be happy to evaluate it. And if it merits a correction, I'll make it.
For the liar, the grifter, the con artist.
Notice he doesn't provide examples. Liar, grifter, con artist, but no examples. No examples. Just unbrushed teeth, unwashed hair, puffy, sleepless face.
You were an actual government informant.
I was not a government informant. The judge actually ruled I was not, but he keeps going to that. And I've told him this 1,000 times. He can look at the courtroom documents. I have them. I'll be happy to show them to him. The judge ruled I was not a government informant. I got dragged into a case I didn't even want to be in.
All of these things are true.
They're not, though. That's the thing.
And you,
but notice, Gary, I'm not threatening to sue you over it. I don't care if you say these things. I'll address it, maybe.
Can't stand it. So, anyways, continue to spread your lies.
If you give me a list of things you think I've gotten wrong, I'll correct it.
Continue to spread and defraud people.
I haven't defrauded anybody. You see all the defamation that's coming my way, and I don't care. I'll play it on my show. I don't care.
Of money and clicks and views, allegedly. Let me throw that in there. Allegedly.
Oh man, that's a good one. Look at that. He's not well. Look at those eyes.
No, he's like stressed.
Gary, you feeling all right, buddy? You know how badly Gary 1.0 wants to jump out of that body and be normal
I'm
again?
here. Save me.
You know how bad? Like there's a decent guy in there going, "Let me out! Let me out! You got me locked up! Let me out of here!
Like
Let me out of here!"
scratching inside.
I'm just.
I mean, I bet you the inside of his skin has nail marks on it where Gary 1.0 is trying to get out.
Wait, go
You know,
back
like the
2 seconds
the nightmare movies where somebody's buried alive and they're scratching at the coffin walls. That's inside Gary 1.0 trying to get out, scratching at the walls.
Go back like 2 seconds. He shakes.
I've just asked questions about.
Look at his face. He's bright red. He is bright red. Look at that 9 and 10 tooth. They're not brushed.
You in your past, your ties to Ali Alexander. It's just hilarious to watch you freak out.
I'm not freaking out, Gary. I'm doing a live show showing you panicking sight unseen. That's how confident I am in the program and everything I say.
I enjoy it.
Well, at least he enjoys it, ladies and gentlemen. At least he enjoys it.
So anyways, hope you have a great podcast tonight, Barron.
I am.
Continue to lie just like you have about me in the past.
Never lied once about you, sir. And the one time I did, I apologized. And I admitted, nobody can watch your show anymore, so everybody assumed you were saying this about Mitch Snow. Everybody assumed you were saying he wasn't there. I apologize for not watching your program. Nobody else can watch it either. It's unwatchable. And as a result, I got that wrong, and I apologized.
Someone said free Gary. Free Gary 1.0.
Yeah, free Gary. Free Gary. I need that shirt. Free Gary 1.0.
Fame, smear, just like you have in the past about me and my producer.
Not into fame her, smear her.
Because you got nothing. because you're a liar. Anyways, you have a good night, Baron.
I'm having a great night, Gary. I'm having the best night of my life. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, Gary. That's little Gary. Notice he was holding the camera up, trying to make him look tall. Guys, I stand by everything I say. If I get anything wrong, realbaronpodcast@gmail.com, more than happy to make a correction. If you just don't like my conclusions, well, then we just agree to disagree. And that's Gary 1.0's position. If you don't like his conclusions, you just agree to disagree. Gary 2.0, I don't know what that was. He needs a shower. I'll tell you that. Get clean, sir. Get clean. Don't show yourself in public looking like that. That's ludicrous. I can't say he's drunk or been drinking, but guys, all I can do is show you the evidence like I do every night. I just put stuff up on the screen and just kind of click through. Oh, there we go. Oh, yeah.
Wait, wait, play it around. Go back like 5 seconds. He starts whipping his head around.
This is great. Every one of these screen caps is gold. Oh, yeah, Gary. Get him. Get him, Gary Bear. Oh, man. He's an angry little fella, isn't he? Wow. Okay. All right, guys. Well, there we go. Ladies and gentlemen, Gary 2.0. Gary 2.0. All right. If you want to send an email, realbaronpodcast@gmail.com, no guarantee they'll be seen. We do scan the subject matter and click on the ones we find interesting, but don't lie in the subject trying to get us to click on it. That's not very polite. We just don't have the resources to dig through absolutely the content of every single email. We do open more than you think, but if they don't get straight to the point, we go right on to the next one. So, yeah, happy to go there. If you'd like some merch, realbaronpodcast.com. We've got the very popular, the most popular item we've ever had, the maroon decoy shirt. If you want a maroon decoy shirt, that's where you get it. realbaronpodcast.com. Get that maroon decoy shirt. If you've liked the program, by all means, click the like button. Happy to have you. Happy to have you like the program. Certainly not begging, but asking, because it does help. And you can subscribe. That also helps. You can also join the program. If you'd like to join the program, be a member, get access to all the member content. Remember, just by way of scheduling this week, Thursday and Friday, I will not be here. 75 to 85% chance I'll be here on Wednesday. Tuesday, we likely will be doing an early show. I've got something to do that night, and we'll not be able to do an afternoon show. Probably going to be a nooner on the on the West Coast. Probably a nooner on the West Coast, a Tuesday matinee tomorrow, and then I'll be taking Thursday through Sunday off. I've got some stuff to do here, and I'm not going to be able to be on the air at night. All right, guys, let's roll through some of your comments. Let's go through some of your comments now that you've been Garerized, not terrorized, Garerized. Mabi, I invited Christ into my life 3 days ago because I heard you guys talk about it. I need to show up to my own life. Christ is King indeed. Thank you, B. Thank you for filling us in, Charlie Squatch. That's excellent. Excellent news. Very excellent news. Keep us updated how it goes. Does Benny really like Johnson? Apparently, he uses the last name. He must love it. That's the only thing I can think of. He has to absolutely be in love with it. Like he just, I mean, it's right there in his own title, his own name. Keep going, Max, humble host. Christ is King indeed, indeed. Hey, grand jury. Hey, how you doing? How you doing? Baron Springer time in the coach's voice. I don't know what that means, but I'll allow it. I'll allow it. Chick-fil-A released their coleslaw recipe when they discontinued. It's on their website. Merry early Christmas. I've made it many times. I can no longer eat mayonnaise, so that kind of rules me out on it, but I still wish they had it on the menu because if I ever do eat Chick-fil-A, that's the only way I like it. Requesting I'll allow it merch. Christ is King indeed. Indeed. Nurse Casey, that sounds like a good idea. Maybe that'll be our next rollout. Baron, what is your zodiac sign? I'm so curious. I would be a Sagittarius. I don't know why that matters, but I'm the half horse. Getting back to the text messages. I find it hard to believe that Charlie would say he was the one and only to protect. I agree. That sounded very un-Charlie-like. I'd be surprised if that was him. Love you, humble host, from your number one fan in Detroit. Please check your August 4 X replies. I will not. I don't check X replies. I apologize. I do sometimes, like in the moment, but I'm not going back and looking at X replies. I have an amazing painting you need to see. What was the Stop Smoking book again? Christ is King indeed. So we'll give you the book name in just a second. I think it was called How to Stop Smoking or something like that. But as for the extra replies, just email it and say painting you must see or something. And that'd be much easier. What's the name of the book?
The book is called The Easy Way to Stop Smoking by Alan Carr, Allencarr.
Alan Carr. How to the
Yeah.
easy way to stop smoking.
Yeah, I was saying it wrong, but even if you just Google how to stop smoking, but
Yeah, and
the easy way to stop smoking.
That $10 a pack, that super chat's just 5 packs, 5 days of smoking.
I just hit 2 years. I meant to tell y'all that since I stopped
congratulations.
vaping. Yes. I don't drink, but
Congratulations.
it's I'm going to show you how much money I saved. Hold on, I have it on this calculator.
You calculate how much money you save?
Well, there's an app. It's called and you can track, and it'll ask you how much you spend about a week, and then it calculates it for you over time. So I've saved in 2 years, $2,617 from the nicotine chokehold.
So Tad, you've got nothing but money ahead of you. You're gonna be swimming in cash like Scrooge McDuck.
That's correct.
It would be great if a Tyler, similar size with decoy shirt, retraced driving into the deck, walking stairs, loitering tunnel entrance, etc. on 9/10/26 with detailed grandma request prepared. Noted. I sashayed my way to the grand jury today. You and Mikey McCoy and Nate Walker, a lot of sashaying going on around TPUSA these days. Hey, Baron, remember me? I fly out to Rome on Friday to begin my second year in seminary. I watched you in Spain all year. Meeting Pope Leo in December, I shall gift him a decoy shirt. Christ is king indeed. If I see the Pope in a decoy shirt, I'm retiring. What else can you ask for? So be careful. If you hand it to him, say, hey, if you wear this, you're going to put him off the air. You put him off the air. All of a sudden, TPUSA is calling like, I'll give you the decoy shirt tomorrow. Yes, I remember you, Anthony. I remember you. Absolutely. Or I don't think that was your name, though. I think that was your handle, but I'm not sure that was your name. My B. I wore my bean paste hoodie today, too. Oh, we were twinsies. With the anniversary approaching, that would be a good way to check shadows with timestamps. The defense team is derelict if they don't do it. There are shadow calculators. I mean, you can check shadows online. There's mapping software and everything else. But not a bad idea. There are two types of people in this world: Fed Sloppers and complex thought processors, a.k.a. high IQ. That's it. No in between. Love you, my B. Christ is king indeed. Grandbabies got kitten. Kitten was misbehaving. 3-year-old intends to spank kitten. What does the Mookie say? You can't spank a cat. In my best voice. Enjoy your vacation, B. What's a Mookie? What does Mookie say? What's a Mookie?
I wish I could tell you. I'm scared to find out. So,
well, whoever that was is brilliant. Whoever Mookie Blaylock, the former New York Met. I don't know. Mookie, whoever you are, you're brilliant. You're brilliant out there. Love from your number one fan in Ruffsdale, Pennsylvania. That sounds like a Pennsylvania town if I've ever heard one. The old sloppy flopper. Classic tactic. Thanks, B. Bringing this to light. Love you, bud. Christ is king indeed. Yeah, indeed. The sloppy flopper, huh? Nobody likes a sloppy flopper. What's up, my B? Went to church this Sunday for the first time in 8 years, and it was amazing. Felt like the pastor and sermon was written just for me. I felt lighter walking out. Love to all. Christ is king indeed. This is what Gary's trying to shut down. This is what Gary gets mad at. It's this community. This is why people don't like this program, because we're improving ourselves day by day. And they can't stand it. They can't stand it. I mean, look at him. You think that guy wants you to be better? You saw him. Halitosis blowing all over the phone. No joke. Legitimately saw a dress online today, and the color was bean paste. Love always from Uck. That sounds like a brilliant dress. Sounds beautiful. Bean paste. I know what color that is. What was the point that led to Trump pick removal? The Iran war. I'd had enough. He promised us he wouldn't do that. Baron, you have legs? I do. 2 of them, as a matter of fact. 2 of them. Though when I went into surgery, they were like, hey, just had, when you're like all drowsy and they got you all doped up on medication, that's when they get you to sign your waiver. And they're like, hey, 5 or 10% chance the surgery fails, you wake up without a foot. And I was like, huh? Wait, say that again? I just sobered up, Doc. What? All of a sudden, I needed another dose of the medicine before I went into surgery. Hi from Australia. Australia. As Don Chip famously coined the political slogan, keep the bastards honest. I don't disagree with Don Chip, whoever he is. What was the name of that legendary Southern lawyer you said you would want to represent you if ever needed? Silver-haired special haircut man. You talking about Bobby Segal? I'll show you Bobby Segal. This is Bobby Segal right here. Bobby Segal is brilliant, beyond brilliant. Very, very sharp guy. Outrageous haircut. Outrageous haircut, but very, very smart. Very sharp man. Yeah, and very well known. Off topic, you briefly mentioned the Clancy trial yesterday, and I look forward to your review of the timeline. It does not make sense. I never guaranteed you I would give you a timeline. Maybe I will. Argue on NX with Fed Sloppers all day is exhausting. Yeah, don't do it. Don't do it. I'm tired. When CO is away, they go crazy. Love you, B. Christ is king indeed. Yeah, even if she didn't tell me she was on vacation, I would know she's on vacation just monitoring X. They go nuts when she's gone. That is a potted meat color hoodie, B. I'm potted meat. Yeah, potted meat. That's from Sling Blade for you two people who are too young to have seen it. Listening to today's show from the Theodore Roosevelt Presidential Library in Medora, North Dakota. I would love to visit that one day. That would be an honor. Didn't that just open? I think it did. Baron, you forgot to bend gravity before jumping. Silly me. Silly me. Apparently Spider-Man getting off the Losi Center roof had no trouble with gravity. Adidas names that hoodie color pre-loved crimson. Yeah, they get some stuff wrong. It's bean paste. It's bean paste. My B. I have two of the same scars as you. It was horrible. Mine happened in 1987. No problems at all. The surgeon was phenomenal. Christ is king. Indeed. My surgeon was great. I love my surgeon. I'm back. I wouldn't say I'm back to normal. I still have a little hitch in my giddy up sometimes, but I'm as well as can be expected. Savoring the last few days of our humble host before the break. You will be missed, but can't wait to see what you come back with. Oh, and a reminder to the grand jury to like the video. Jury, like the video, please. Christ is king indeed. The color of your hoodie is called terracotta. I look forward to your wonderful and informative show every day. I race home to watch it. Do it safely. Wear your safety harness. Use your signals. Stop completely at all stoplights and stop signs. But yes, get home quickly as you can. Episode 165. You start acting like a monopoly. Ha la ba 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 la la. You just got Roosevelted. Waited for YouTube to caption. They made no attempt. I didn't even notice that. Did I say that? Ha la ba la ba da la la. You just got Roosevelted. Yeah, we need a little Teddy in our life right now. He would get this country set straight. I had my nose broken when I was younger. Still wince when I watch a UFC fight and see a broken nose. Go Max. Christ is king indeed. Can I confess something? I've only watched one UFC night in my life, and I didn't even watch most of it. I was at a friend's house, and they had like a poker night, and the game was on. And you naturally catch little pieces of it when they all start going crazy. I don't particularly care for UFC. I'll watch boxing. I don't like UFC. EK reposted a video today from 8/27/25 with CK's voice, and it sounds like AI. I hope I'm wrong. You might be right. You might be right. I didn't see that. We need a welcome in mug. Oh, that's a great idea. Nurse Casey, we need to update the mugs. We need a third offering. Welcome in, welcome in, welcome in. The last one needs to be, so welcome in on the top line, and then on the bottom, welcome in. One of two, fifth generation Californian here. Been living in Mexico for 7 years. Lil Tip, Sigue. Sigue. First time I heard you say it, I did a loud Baron. Oh no. Yeah. Sigue derecho. All right, I'll allow it. This is a spy. There's a spy balloon over Nashville right now. I can't make this up. You can't make this up. Check out my post Furman files. How do you know there's a spy balloon? We just let spy balloons go over whenever we want in this country. We just have spy balloons flying around. Just identified Chinese manufactured meteorological balloon over Nashville, showing up as on flight radar as a jet with a misconfigured or broken transponder. I don't know how common this is, but why is this still allowed? Would this not be a national security issue? How do we know it's Chinese? Oh, because they say it right there. Huh. Okay. Oh, no, that's you saying it. Interesting. I'll allow it. Oh, I don't know if I ever shared that. I meant to share that with you guys. I didn't mean for you to watch the side of my head as I was looking at it. It was interesting.
Yeah, you didn't, but
I didn't think so because when I look
we'll
back,
allow it.
When I look back, it was like, "Do you care to share?" And I'm like, dadgummit. 202 reminded me of Joe Biden completely biffing "si se puede" and saying "si se puede." Puede. LOL. Otherwise, you're pretty good. I really appreciate you sprinkling in the Spanish words. Makes me smile. Sending lots of love from Mexico. I do my best out here, even when I get it wrong. I tell people I speak language tape Spanish. Also, a yellow bull butter mug. All right. Don't get greedy. Don't get greedy with the merch. We'll roll out a little bit at a time. I squeeze in, but I digress. In arguments with my husband, and it drives him nuts, thanks to your humble host. Tell him I apologize. Won't happen again. But I digress. I empathize also. Years ago, I fell on my husband's 1958 Chris Craft. The hell is that? And put my foot through a thick boat. Oh, it must be a boat. Broke many bones in my right foot, went all the way through, and I fell in lake. Boat for sale. Well, it sounds like it sunk to the bottom of the lake, right? Had a hole in it. How did you guys save it? I don't want a holy boat. That's a beautiful looking boat. Wow. You're selling it over a single hole? It's a pretty little, I could shuck and jive on that thing. That's nice. Just want to spread some love and pray for all independent investigators to stay safe. I will pray for all of you. Love, Maria from Sveden. Christ is king indeed. I don't even know why I say Sveden. Hey, Baron, did you notice Mikey McCoy in the video of Tyler F. Candace released on Thursday? After immediately walking away, he sachets back to the crime scene. God bless you and your fam. Did we confirm that was Mikey that sashayed back to the crime scene? I'm not sure. Maybe it was. I have to go back and look.
Are you talking about the where we see Terrell?
Yes.
Yeah. Oh yeah, Mikey's over there.
Duly noted. My B, what are your favorite courtroom or legal films? Mine are 12 Angry Men, Liar, Liar, My Cousin Vinny, and The Exorcism of Emily Rose. I know Tombstone is your fave. Do you like Costner's Wyatt Earp? I had trouble watching Wyatt Earp because of Tombstone. Saw Tombstone first, saw Wyatt Earp. I think I saw Wyatt Earp when it was in the movie theater. And just couldn't buy it because I only had the other guy to compare it to, Kurt Russell. 12 Angry Men was good, both the old one and the new one, frankly. The Tony Danza version actually wasn't bad. But the old one, obviously, the classic. Liar, Liar's fine. My Cousin Vinny, I think, is probably the most accurate legal film, believe it or not, in terms of the way the courtroom plays out. I liked A Few Good Men, but there's nothing about it that's realistic. But it was fun. It was cool drama. Keep going, Max. My what? Oh, no. Someone check on Michelle. She didn't make it. Stat. What's something you've changed your mind about over the last few years that has genuinely made you a better person? Never forget that. You weren't looking for this. It found you. Something I've changed my mind about. It's made me a better person. Over the last few years, so I used to be a little suspect of Candace because she worked at Prager. She worked at Daily Wire. Obviously, those organizations do not hold my political position, particularly around foreign policy. I was very suspect of her. But after leaving the Daily Wire, she has been a rock star. I've changed my mind on that, and I feel like it's made me a better person. I'll give you that. Pickles is here by Dund and Roe Wilson. I don't know what that means. Barrett, thanks for joining our X Space Saturday. Please take it easy on Gary. He's been cautious lately, allowing me into spaces where I always make gold clips. So Uncle Tom ran a tight ship that night. I don't usually like X Spaces because people talk all over each other, but they've been better lately, if I'm being honest. A lot of them have been better. Travis ran like a 9 or 10 hour X Space, and I jumped in at 4 or 5 different times. And he was running a pretty tight ship. As they start talking over each other, he'd just mute and be like, nah, we're not doing this. I was like, yes, You go. You go. Thanks, Uncle Tom. Happy to be there. Why would TR offer LT his old room at his parents' house when LT granddad owns property and his parents live nearby? It doesn't make sense. I guess he thought maybe, I don't know. That's a good question. Maybe he thought LT might end up being a little more liable than it turned out to be. I honestly don't know. It's a good question. Good question. Our humble host, Daisy, and the grand jury always remember that 2 wrongs don't make a right, but 3 rights make a left. Much love from Conyers, Georgia. Would it surprise you to know I've been to Conyers, Georgia? My sister used to live right next to it. Used to have to get off in Conyers to get to her house. How much time can Blake Sneff mark if Blake Sneff did mark time? Till noon. He can mark from 9 to noon. We just don't know where he was. I fell off my bed and snapped my ankle in 8 places. Fell off your bed? Were you drunk? My post-op pics looked exactly like yours. But Baron, 100%. Spider-Man is feeling some type of way. Yeah, indeed. Indeed, he is. Interesting. I guarantee you he feels some type of way. Yeah, careful getting out of bed, guys. Apparently it's dangerous. I try to be charitable, but when it comes to the Fed Slop, I have a hard time believing those trading in it have any true conviction. Same. Regarding Smoke Boys texts, if Charlie was afraid certain governments might take him out, would he feel comfortable revealing that to a security without sounding insane? Or is saying the left easier? Well, maybe. That's an interpretation. If there's anything Benny knows about, it's Johnson. Oh, he's a member of the family. He grew up at Johnson. He loves Johnson. Big fan. There was no before Benny and then after Benny. He was paid Benny. Oh. Well, he's always been on the dole. That's correct. He made over $1 million from TPUSA one year. I went back and looked at their 990s. I think I'm right about that. If I'm wrong, Benny, don't get on in a drunken rant with some ginger troll. Just send me an email. I'll correct it. But I think I'm right about that. Thank you, Delightful Pam. Very delightful contribution. Where do you learn this vast encyclopedic knowledge you use for your openings? I'm always amazed by how diverse your topics are. What's your secret? The secret is talk about things you know about, number one. I'm very curious, so I naturally read a lot. I also do a lot of research on the fly while writing them. So I'm looking through wikis, I'm looking through other articles, I'm putting facts together. I mean, it's not like I know it all off the top of my head. I'm researching as I go. But yeah, I mean, it's obviously if I'm doing an opening on something. Now, the Karen Reed trial took a long time to do that opening because I was not at all familiar with that. But most of the stuff I talk about, I at least have some working knowledge of, and I have some basis for how I want it to go. So thank you. Erica's tarnishing my first name and Benny my last name. You must be Erica Johnson. Even my dog isn't safe. His name is Twiggy. I guess his nickname. I'm afraid to, frankly. Twiggy? Twigs and berries? I'm just kidding. Twigs. I'm assuming twigs. How about a super live stream with you, Candace, Ian C., Stu Peters, Lionel discussing the Charlie case, sharing all evidence, inconsistencies, and lies together, making an absolutely inarguable, undeniable case for the world to see. Justice for Charlie. That sounds like a lot of organizing. There's a lot of people there that are pretty busy. Please pray for me. Washer and car broke down. Will be thousands to fix after just spending $1,000 last month on my car, and I'm 7 months pregnant. Jeez, T, I will pray for you for sure. One of the tragedies about the cost of living being increased so rapidly is that it's wiping out people's ability to respond to an emergency. It's not just that it costs $50 more to go to the grocery store every 2 weeks. I mean, that's tragic, but that's $100 a month that you could have been saving or putting aside. And then after a year, you've got an extra $1,200 and your car breaks down, you pay $1,000 and you've got it. But one of the tragedies about the rising cost of living is that doesn't exist. First thing I'd say is don't super chat $5. Super chat 99 cents. But we'll pray for you. Absolutely. T8080. 8080. I just had my third baby. Samson baptized him this Sunday. I catch a replay between 12 and 5 a.m. Your voice is soothing when I wake up every few hours with him. Oh, thank you. I appreciate that. Something changed in the world the day CK died. One by one, people I used to admire have sold out. It's so obvious. The flip-flopping is blatant. I truly believe they've sold their souls. Christ is king indeed. They may have a greater reason to believe that he was taken out by a multi-agency conspiracy theory than we do, being insiders. And they may be scared of that. I've not ruled out that possibility. Possible opening statement topic, Fed Slop about conspiracy theorist Bill Cooper. He was exposing the government as liars and was ultimately killed. Christ is king indeed. I've looked into that quite a bit. I'm one of 8, so I love that you have a big family. Greatly appreciate all you do. Thank you. Angel B, thank you for the kind words. I appreciate it. My B, ouch and ooh. I got ousted 2 times. YouTube picking on me. Moon Goddess. You see why I'm so insistent on the PT? I did my PT. I was a very good PT patient. And I got back most of my original use. A big hi from Belfast. Ireland loves Baron and Daisy. Worth waiting up for. A big hi from Middle Tennessee to Belfast. Much love from Alberta. Always love the show. Thank you, B and Daisy. Some Canuck bucks. Daisy, if we ever need syrup, we know where to go. Alberta. Benny likes Johnson. I approve of this nickname. Sincerely, Banana Girl. Oh no, that's not the Johnson I'm talking about. I'm talking about his last name. Don't misunderstand me. I just know he likes that last name. Like he could have chosen any last name for a stage name, and he didn't. He went with Johnson because he likes Johnson. Candace says there are good people in government. Do you think anyone with real power is helping behind the scenes, or is there anyone who can finally act on what they're seeing? Christ is king indeed. I think there's probably lots of good people in government. I just think the power brokers are so demonically influenced that the good people are really kind of bound by that. Carhartt shirt could have been FR, fire retardant. Maybe explains why no burn marks from potential direct explosive. Thank you. What's next, a.k.a. motion work? Evidentiary hearings. What can we expect for roadmap toward trial? And will there be a lot of hearings with the judge? Also, will Graff be on trial? Unless he resigns or gets removed or grants some motion for a new venue or removal request, yeah, he'll be the trial judge. What can we expect for a roadmap? It just really depends on how the litigation goes, how it plays out. If there are a lot of discovery disputes, we can expect them to be back in court time and time again for discovery disputes. There likely will be a hearing or hearings on motions in limine. That's where you're trying to bind certain decisions during the trial. There'll be 702 hearings in all likelihood where they're determining who is an expert witness and is that expert witness qualified. There's lots of hearings that could come up. It just depends on how the case plays out. Timeline, I would think the judge probably will bind it over for trial and almost assuredly will bind it over for trial. And you could probably look at a trial in anywhere from 12 to 24 months. Again, depending on how available discovery is, how quickly it's turned over, what kind of volume it is, and everything else. And what the judge's trial schedule looks like. I don't know what the trial schedules look like out there. Finished Rome Sweet Home and established contact with a Catholic Fedette on my way to study for my communion, and you were a big inspiration. Remember, Jesus loves you. Maria, Jesus loves you. It's true. Thank you. Thank you for that update. When were Tyler and Lance ever together in person after Charlie was shot? Isn't that what was said? He confessed to Lance in person. The following morning is the story. Maybe 8 or 9 o'clock that morning, they were together. Watching these Fed Sloppers lie straight-faced makes my blood boil. Blood boil. As if they need another sacrifice to whatever evil entity they worship. He was killed in a menorah. TBB, Matt, did a show with Josh Carr today. Is he one that EK invited to the pre? I have no idea. I have no idea what any of that means. Do you know Barron or any jury members? He lives in Orem, Utah. Do I know Barron? Yes. Do I know any jury members? Yes. I have no idea. You talking about Josh Carr? And I don't know what TBB means. So thank you. I appreciate that. Benny flipping was drastic. I wonder if he got the call. Could it be related to the reports of his wife crying at back-to-back events because she caught him with a... I'm not going to say that out loud. Why so many closeted influencers? Well, I have a theory on that, but it's too long to explain during a comment section. But I'll say this. It is rampant. It is rampant in the online influencer sphere. It is rampant in Washington, D.C., staffing, nonprofits, all that. It is rampant. And I have a strong theory as to why. And it has to do with who ultimately controls all these people. But I'm not going to go into it here. If anyone has experienced an abortion, please know you're not alone. There's Healing in Christ, Not Forgotten Ministries provides online Bible studies, one-on-one support, and weekend retreats in beautiful, scenic, historic North Carolina. B got All-Star Chat, Trigger Danks, and Octavia with us. Oh, wow. We do have an All-Star cast. An All-Star cast, ladies and gentlemen. Hey, hi, Q Injury. Hi. How you doing? Edge, dear sir, thank you for doing this. Confront their lies and hold their words accountable. It's like playing whack-a-mole with the truth. No. Whose team are they on? How much for their souls? Well, are you suggesting they struck a Faustian bargain to maintain their influence? If I'm not mistaken, J6, CK, and Butler all had unrealized pipe bomb side plots. What's the deal? It's almost like there's a common plan they're working from, right? Almost like there's some sort of common plan. Does all this phenomena explain an EMF, which explains the magic bullet effect, just like the JFK assassination? A directed energy weapon could have guided the bullet and make all shots the same way, irreproducible and unexplainable. I don't know about that. I mean, a bullet is traveling very, very fast. I don't know if you can hit it with electromagnetism and change its course and like make it do all this stuff, which is essentially what it would have to do. Oh, wow. Your opening statement was great. True story. The end of Norma McCorvey's life, she lived right here in Katy, Texas. That's outside of Houston. B, I really feel high IQ when you talk just to me. I kid. Always great. Regina, I'm talking to you.
I grew up in Katy, Texas.
Did you really?
I did.
I have a friend in Katy, Texas. I have a
Do
friend in Katy.
you?
That's how I know where it is. I can't tell you who it is,
Small
though. Can't tell
Yeah,
you who it is.
they're good at high school football.
Yeah, people will try to malign me if I say who my friend is. Last month, I found my mom tried to get 2 abortions with me in 1987. Indiana, too far along, referred her to Kentucky. Kentucky protesters chased her off. Jesus protecting me. Tough life, but 3 beautiful kids. My goodness, Britain. That's a wild story. I don't even know how to respond, frankly. I'm happy you're here. I'm sure your 3 beautiful kids are happy you're here. What a story. Wow. Baron, have you seen what German Amaya is releasing? He's dropped a lot of pics and videos. Hope they help. Thank you for all you do. Hi, Daisy. Texas girl here. Prayers for safety. Christ is king indeed. I don't know that I have. Maybe I have. But I do know that name sounds familiar. I think someone in a comment a few nights ago mentioned that name. But we're the ones that switched up. So glad you did the show. I hope they feel like idiots. No, I'm right here. I'm the same as I was. My opinions on this case have not changed because the evidence hasn't changed. I am open to the fact that Tyler Robinson did it. I don't believe he did, not based on the current evidence. But if the evidence ever changes, yeah, maybe it will become overwhelming. But I'm not going to change the evidence hasn't changed. Stephen Gardner did a frame-by-frame breakdown of how that could not be a gun on the roof. And now he's like, yeah, he did it. It's overwhelming. What? How? Professor B, about rifle. Rub it in your butt. Oh, yeah, I did say that, didn't I? Dom. I don't give a Dom. Talented podcaster in her own right. I did say that. Well, I was just thinking of, Baron, when on campus yesterday, we took special notice of how freaking high that drop from the low-C roof was. I wouldn't do it. Let me know if you'd like me to email you videos we took there. You're more than welcome to. realbaronpodcast@gmail.com. I don't give a Dom his back. Thanking God because he's great and because of my asthma makes me have to steer clear from Smoke Boy, Earthside. Yeah, I couldn't be in a room with that guy. I'd be crushed. They always show that gun found in the woods in that box. They claim it's not a stock picture, but the actual gun they found. Question. Was there a bow on it too? I don't think there was a bow on it.
There's a picture without the box. I saw that going around a lot. Everyone was saying, like, why was it already in the box? To be fair, they placed it there and then took the picture. I think that was testified. But also, we do have a picture of a towel in the woods. So
yeah, but not the gun alone. We have the gun and the towel in the bushes, but we don't have the gun not in the box.
Yeah, we only have it in the box.
And and more importantly, we only see the gun after it was made safe.
Yeah, they testified
And
to
the
that,
key
which was
part of
weird.
that is that means they either turn the safety on or off.
Yeah, like why'd you have to touch it before you could just
Yeah.
snap a photo?
I hope that when they get to trial, there are photos of that gun in the actual condition they found it in. If not, I'm looking at the jury going, they didn't even show you the situation they found it in.
Yeah, they had to touch it first.
Yeah, they were in there manipulating it, right, cycling rounds. Yeah, I agree. I missed one. Baron, I'm 3 years sober today. Wow, congratulations. Through the grace of God, I'm almost a few months back to practicing our shared faith, in part due to your example. Prayers for the sick and suffering in our community. Christ is King indeed. Indeed. And congratulations, by the way. Hey, Baron, why do you think they didn't approach you with some money to change your position to feeling overwhelmed? Or maybe they tried and failed. I've not been approached by anybody. I think honestly, and I hate to say this, and it's not tooting my own horn, I think you can tell the people who would be susceptible to that stuff and the people who aren't. I really do. I really do. I don't think you could approach Candace. I don't think you can approach me. I think there's a lot of people you can't approach. Obviously, there are probably some you can, and we may have seen them. I cannot thank you enough for this continuously confirming I was right all along about the CK case. Thank you so very much. Your number one fan in Shelbyville, Indiana. Would it surprise you to know I've been there? I went to a middle school basketball game in Shelbyville, Indiana, and the local Pizza King in Shelbyville. I think Benny Johnson is playing his role in the plot to be an example of someone accepting the case and allowing the evidence to change their mind. No, he didn't cite any evidence that changed. If he'd have said, hey, I used to think this, but then I saw this, and because of this one fact, I've now changed my mind. He didn't do that. He just acts like, yeah, it's overwhelming. And he cites all the evidence that was available when it wasn't overwhelming. Do we know the color of the towel? I think it was black. It was black. Gary, congratulations. You can have escalate from big dummy to dumb hiney. Ivan, keep it clean. Keep it clean. Did you have a chance to go back and see Plaid Shirt Christopher in CO's Terrell F footage, where Christopher may interact with Bagley? Episode 379, 3 minutes to 4 minutes. No, I did not. But hopefully Daisy will make a mark of that episode 379, and we'll go back and look at it at the 3-minute mark. On Charlie's text saying the left still points to a collaborative effort versus lone wolf, he likely would have said some crazy person if he thought the threats were independent, random nuts. I don't know. It sounds to me Stephen was threatened for my safety, I'll say. Things that make you go, No, I think he was saying so that I don't get sued, I'll say. I don't think he was claiming threats to physical safety. Gardner, maybe they found him looking at nasty stuff. Yeah, that's been my theory. That's been my theory, that these guys may have been found at least doing something illegal, because there seems to be a whole group of them that are being protected. Seems to be all of these guys are being protected. So I don't know. Major onslaught of people spamming X with negative tweets about you. You have hit a nerve with them. Humble host has integrity. They don't. Christ is King indeed. Again, I don't mind. I stand by everything. Like if there's something that I've said and they're like, we shouldn't have said that, here's why. And I'm, oh, you're right. And the more I look at it, like I gave the example. Gare never said Mitch wasn't at Fort Huachuca. I just assumed he did because nobody watches his show, so I don't watch it either. I mean, when you're not getting any viewers, how can you expect people to know what you said? But once you pointed it out, I made the correction. I think the next night I made the correction. I said hi from Gunnersville yesterday. I shared your kind words with Will Ainsworth. Oh, small world, but because I'm an agent at his real estate brokerage. Wow, Christ is King indeed. Kelly Bain. Wow. You work with Will Ainsworth? I love Will Ainsworth. That is amazing. That's amazing. I haven't spoken to him in years, but I really genuinely think the world of him. That's great. I'm glad to hear that. Thank you, Kelly. Thank you for sharing that. I miss Big Gary. I miss Gary 1.0. Two things. I ordered a shirt recently. The other company that ships fast as you is Amazon. And two, I have a new friend to work out with because of that shirt. We both shared how motivating you are. Wow. I'm telling you guys, they hate this community. That's why they attack me. They want to attack you, but they can't, so they come for me. That's what it is. That's what it is. My husband calls you the straight Tim Dillon. Also, acceptable answers would have been the thin Tim Dillon. The thin and straight Tim Dillon. That's funny. I have no idea what's got me all fired up tonight. Maybe I'll crank up my air filter. Get this bad boy cranked up a little bit. Maybe I'll stop coughing so much. That's funny. You made me laugh. The straight Tim Dillon. May sound intrusive, but if these guys were flipped for money, etc., as they were bringing in audiences, one would ask, were you approached, offered to turn? No, I've never been approached. It's funny because like you would think at least they would reach out and want to talk at some point. Like, hey, have you considered our side of it? Let's have an off the record conversation. I haven't even gotten that. And I would love to have that, to be honest with you. And I would keep it off the record. Absolutely. But I haven't even gotten that. All I got was, assaults on X, threats, and everything else. But no reaching out. They should. What's your take on pastors accepting money for FARA messages? Straight to jail. Don't pass go. Don't collect $200. Straight to jail and leave the cloth behind. You're no longer a man of the cloth. I think we can safely assume all flip-floppers have been coerced in some manner by the government to become a Fed Slopper. In my humble opinion, allegedly. Not necessarily by the government, but when you flip that hard, one has to ask why. Longtime listener, first ever super chat. You do amazing work. Grateful to be part of this awesome family. Blessings to you and everyone listening. Blessings to you. This'll have to do. This'll have to do. I got you. This'll have to do. Coming to you from Arizona, but not TPUSA, Arizona. I wouldn't have guessed that. You seem too high IQ. Though there are a couple of high IQ employees. I still talk to them. One day they'll get fired, but for right now, they're fine. Been watching since the Google Trends were shown on Jimmy Dore, and that's when I fell in love. I've learned so much. Your insane humor keeps me coming back and staying sober. Don't be a Joe. You see that right there, ladies and gentlemen? That's what they don't want. They don't want us being better people. My B, SG, and Likes Johnson are full of bull butter. P.S. Thyroid biopsy coming up, and we'll be 50 on Thursday. Christ is King indeed, and Jesus loves y'all. Hey, good luck. Good luck. We've been praying for you. Good luck. I appreciate the time and integrity you put into your shows. Your children must be so proud of you. Godspeed. Number one fan in Lacombe, Louisiana. Thank you, Baron. Well, thank you, Melissa Miners. Melissa Miners. Prayers to all the families for a new school year. Christ is King indeed. Yeah, our daughter started last week. Ordered a shirt recently. Wearing the shirt brought a new friend to work out with. I'm not the only one you motivate to work out hard. Oh. We got a little extra detail there. It's like the feds when they give us text and then the next release, we get a little bit more. That's what she's doing here. Well, good. Just don't work out while listening to the program. That's not good workout material. I tried to work out listening to a podcast not too terribly long ago. It didn't go well. I wish I hadn't done it. Workout today was hard though. I was kind of gassy. Baron, thanks for all you do. My son, 16, enjoys listening to you. He hopes he grows up to growl like Baron when he says was. Keeping my prayers that the truth is revealed for this. God's timing in all things. Christ is King indeed. Well, that was an interesting message. Thank you. I never knew how I said was until you guys pointed it out. New member here, your number one fan in Hindman, Pennsylvania. My hubby said you wouldn't say Bedford County, baby, but I think you would. We love you. Christ is King indeed. The Bedford County, baby. Is that how you say it? I don't know. Edge, the only she hurting TPUSA is EK. She makes me want to puke. When she said some man in that speech, the mama shark in me twitched. How could she call the great Charlie some man? Yeah, it hit me wrong too. Around October, Gary's upset a few videos were demonetized. Then he had an FBI friend on who introduced the bullets do strange things mantra. This was the switch time. Oh, I didn't know that. Thanks for your hard work. It's inspiring to me. Keep up the good work. This train isn't stopping. No, we have no brakes. No brakes on the train. Prayers for this case to be solved. Not that my son has a deep voice like B. Oh. I pray he has a deep voice like Bear as well. Candace hit 6 million on YouTube with Brigitte series. Fact. I don't think that's true. I think she hit it not too terribly long ago. like a month or so ago. But maybe I'm wrong. But Baron, very tickling. Does Dan Flood work security from home? Greetings from Switzerland. Yeah, it's a good question. That's the question I have. How's he working security when he never leaves his house? If you're not a member, you are missing out. Member shows are a bit different, fun and weird. Weird. I'll be the judge of that. It's weird. Plus, the content is evergreen. Baron can explain, plus a 200-character super chat every month. Come on, folks. No, I can't sell it better than that. Come be weird. Those who publicly defend or believe the Fed Slop are allegedly showing that the takeover of the org was a success. It was seen as the biggest propaganda machine ever, and this is test one, allegedly. I'll allow it. I like that. Yes, but wasn't old Dan Flood seen on a certain someone's porch? No, he was not. That was someone else. Baron, we live for your laugh, your gasps, and how you say, quick quack. God bless you. Christ is king indeed. Thank you. What's your name? Vega? I haven't heard any name Vega before. The Tyler Sliderman put something on his right near the roof's edge. Doesn't look like he grabbed it before he jumped off the roof. I think he left it there for someone to pick up. That could be an artifact of the image. I mean, it's a poor quality image. My nickname my dad called me was Claire Bear growing up. Every time he said Gare Bear, I turned my head. Just FYI, I am the better bear. Christ is king indeed. No doubt, Claire Bear. No doubt you're the better bear. It's a big club, and you ain't in it. That's correct. George Carlin was great back in the day. Love when you're skeptical. I'm a little skeptical. It's been known to happen. Don't forget the rapid response account, replying directly to Gary, and that Cash P follows him from his official account. The connections seem pretty obvious. Your boy Baron Coleman proves he's not a political party shill and actually an independent thinker. And this is a bad thing. I'm confused. Oh, that's Zach Costello from the Zach Costello Show. I love that show. I watch it daily. Zach, you're right. I'm not a political shill. I'm not a political party shill. Not any kind of shill. But yeah, isn't that amazing? They're like, he once voted for a Democrat. Yeah, I was a better person in that office. And it was for a law enforcement position. I don't care what your position is on abortion. Just go arrest the bad guys. Go arrest the bad guys. They're all leaving you, B. You using deodorant? Yeah, I use deodorant every day. Yeah. I don't know what that means. Wait. You showed a tweet of Data Republican from July 29th where she said, me, I'm not military. So I asked some military guys. Yet she is at this time working for the Pentagon. Yeah, allegedly. That's a good catch. Coach Colin, they can't Isaac Cappy all of us. I hope they don't Isaac Cappy any of us. He didn't make it. Thank you, Coach. I subbed to Data R, and she was my favorite on X during the Doge, Elon, and USAID investigations in 2025. She's brilliant in a real sense. Highly disappointed at this revelation, canceling sub, and this ruins her credibility. I agree. That's how I feel about it. I think she did great work back in the day. I went back and scrolled her timeline. She looked like she did some great work, and then all of a sudden she became a shill. About the time she went to work for the Department of War. I would not recognize young chubby Baron. Well, good. Baron, you look younger today than that clip. Well done. Today I learned Gary has a massive crush on you. Whatever you're doing, it's working. Slay Queen. Is that what it is with Gary? Is that why you watch us so much? Hi, Gary. You can't touch this. Oh, sorry, Gary. Yeah, I'm not going to let you. No. I don't comment much, but I just want to say I'm so happy I stopped giving my money to Steven Crowder months ago. And I'm instead a proud member of this high IQ outfit. Thank you for all you do. Christ is king indeed. Well, thank you for your generosity. I appreciate it. 5 months now. Wow. Hey, B, you were asked where Dan Flood might be. Do you think he's coaching third base somewhere? He could put down a mean bunt sign. You didn't see the swipe. Yeah, I don't trust old Danny. Maybe one day he'll like have a come to Jesus moment and say my soul is more important than whatever's going on out there. I want to know why he touched his arm. My B, given all the time to destroy all evidence, is there a scenario where one or more involved turns on co-conspirators and we still get justice? What would that take? Or there won't be a way to prove who really did it? I honestly think if it's a co-conspirator, it would, assuming a conspiracy exists. This is all under the guise that it exists, ladies and gentlemen. But I would think it would take one of the co-conspirators realizing he's willing to die. Because I think that's what would happen. Same happened at Macomb County, Michigan. So all local people run as GOP, even though many are leftists, as all get out. AW is disingenuous and is out of his league against our humble host. Christ is king indeed. Yeah, Smoke Boys, I don't know. I don't know how that attack is supposed to land, you know. Daisy saying that video looked from 1987 made me laugh so hard. We need more Daisy commentary. Not if she's going to make fun of your humble host.
I'm around. I'll be here.
Yeah. Guys, I was 8 years old in 1987. I did not look like that.
I was unheard of. Not even thought about.
Daisy was 0. Daisy was unheard of in 1997, I think. Dang, Baron, for a Hoosier, your cultural appropriation game is on 11. Your country accent is dead on. And was that video shot on Betamax or VHS? I'm going to send that to Steve Flowers and say they're making fun of your production quality, buddy. I like old Steve Flowers. I have a Steve Flowers book on my bookshelf. He wrote, I don't know where it is. I can't see. I'd show it to you, but I can't see it. It was like called Tales from the State House or something. Man, my coughing is outrageous tonight. It was a really good book.
It's because you've been giggling.
Yeah, you're right. No, I know what it is. I drank coconut milk before I started, and sometimes that gets me fired up. Hey, Baron, did you and JSM discuss the medical report? A bullet doesn't stop a beating heart immediately, and there was no blood squirt from the wound. Everything I discussed with Joseph Scott Morgan was on that podcast. We talked about it briefly. Well, not briefly. We did several minutes on it, but yeah, everything's on there. Feels like defamation by Gare. Your impression of Andrew was spot on. Halitosis is what you're experiencing in that video. I agree, man. It felt hot. And can you imagine what Smoke Boy's breath smells like with all those cigarettes? There's apparent gingivitis based on the stills from the Candace video. Yeah, I don't care though about that. Like, I'm not gonna go after Gare Bear. What am I gonna take his trailer? I mean, he can do what he's doing. Whatever. I'm reminded of the great words of Ivan the Great. Gary, you big dummy. Ivan, you're great now. Could knock a buzzard off a doo-doo wagon. Yeah, I cleaned it up for the show. That's not the original saying. It's buzzard off a poop wagon. $2 for defrauding me. Thanks. Oh man, you're welcome, Autumn. B clock Gary's gingivitis. Also, who's a gingivitis? That's my new nickname for Gary. Gingivitis. That's great. Also, who said the comment about the vaulted ceilings? I'm done. Shout out to my short kings. I love you just as much. Too much fun with Gary. Barrett, I lived through the murder trial in Ohio. My daughter was 15. I still don't get how a judge will let a trial occur because their evidence had reasonable doubt, and why no grand jury? Well, the judge is kind of sitting in place of the grand jury. That's how they're doing it. Yeah, we'll see what happens. We'll see how the judge rules. Forgive me if you've already covered this or know of it. NCRI is the pro-Zio org that produced this CO report, is deeply tied to Johnny Moore. We did cover that a few months back in July when that report came out. He was appointed May 20th, Middle East Affairs Associate Director. Yeah, we covered that. It would have been after July 6th when that report came out, but in the following days, we did cover that. Evil is one hell of a drug. Yes, indeed. It'll aid you. Inside Gary is a pleasant, honest, clean 1.0 version. He knows because Kandahar Gary ate him. That was great. Thanks, B and Daisy. Christ is king indeed. Big Gary ate little Gary. Get in my belly. Oh, that's great. 6:06 p.m. tonight. Thomas Massey tweeted about Data Republican. Are you here with us, Mr. Massey? I hope so. Good evening, sir. Ivan. And that is what a big dummy looks like. His face looks like it has had an encounter with an orange taco. Okay. Christ is in our midst. Christ is king indeed. Oh, but Jesus would be having fun with Gary's video too, right? Please, maybe a little. He turned over tables. He has a sense of humor. Gary's eating alive with jealousy. I almost saw green smoke wafting from his ears. I definitely saw jitters. Maybe withdrawal. Yeah, maybe. You're doing Tucker's show this week, aren't you? Blink twice for yes, once for maybe. Ah, no, I'm not going to do that game. Not playing that game, sir. Not playing that game. I don't know that I'd take off 4 days to do it either. But maybe. We got to find a vendor who will do night shirts. I'll allow it. Belongs on a night shirt. And hold, please. Oh, man, what a sweet shirt. Hold, please. You can almost see the couple cuddling up with their high IQ jammies on. We call them jambos at our house. Get the jambos on. Yes. I'll allow it. We'll leave that out. That's up to you. Gare Bear 2.0, the angry little gnome. Casey, Nurse Casey merch. If Gary showers, he will wash away his soul. Oh, Gary, what have you done? Thanks for making us laugh, Baron. We need a Gary shirt. No, I won't sell a Gary shirt. I'm not going to profit off the poor man. The Baron jury, it would have to be such a little shirt, too. No one could wear it. Had to be kids' merch. Baron and jury and community are a breath of fresh air. This is a space where BS isn't allowed, and that's comforting. We're all sick of the lying, and there's more truth seekers than Fed shoppers. Christ is king indeed. Fed shoppers. Clean up aisle 4. Did we take into account AZ doesn't do DST for time? Yes, we did. We did take that into account. I'm living in your energy today. Your quick pause, Smoke Boy Gary, drop in commentary, press play moments are hilarious. So, are you recording with Tucker Carlson this weekend spill? I would never do that. I can't tell you I'm going to do something like that. Then people will be camped out at Tucker's house, ready to potentially harm your humble host. I could never spill the beans on something like that. Male influencers that flip have rescue syndrome. Okay. Same as firemen who left their wives and fam to marry the widows after 9/11. Christ is king indeed. Oh, you're saying they got the hots for Miss Francevay. Second, I saw Benny live discussing the threat to him and his family. I thought this was a psyop by feds to get him to act right. Love you, B. Go Max. Ooh, I didn't think about that. Gary reminds me of one of the 7 dwarfs. In my opinion, he's dopey. This is unkind of me. Forgive me. Christ is king belongs to the jury. Well, I'll allow it. Baron, you and I were born on the same day in the same year. We're cuspies. Sagittarius on the cusp of Scorpio, only 1 degree into Sagittarius. I wasn't aware of the degreedom. But happy birthday coming up in a few months. I'm glad to know I got a cuspy out there. You know who else shares our birthday? Britney Spears. Lucy Liu. Bob from Bob and Tom. No, yes, we have famous people. It's a spam hoodie. Love you from your biggest fan in Mason, Ohio. Well, that would require me to put pineapple on it. I'm not doing that. I like pineapple juice, though. It's very sweet. I don't drink it often, but I do like when they come in those little 2-ounce cans. It's just enough. And pineapple's fine. But I don't want it on my sweatshirt. I have no idea why I said all that. If Tyler Robinson confessed allegedly, would the state and DA show the judge and be there? Wouldn't be a court trial. Tyler Robinson confessed allegedly. Wouldn't the state and DA show the judge and be there? Wouldn't be a court trial. No, you can confess and still have a trial. You can confess and still plead not guilty. Yeah. The military guy who was on earlier was retired Colonel Daniel Davis, who was a great show. He was also Tulsi Gabbard's choice as deputy, but got shut down. Interesting, considering Tulsi Gabbard's role in this case. Interesting. Alt text times. Easy to fake if you change time zone. Now alt text will show the altered time. Also easy to alter the pick SB release. Change the left to agitators in 30 seconds. Wow, that's interesting because the phone was on airplane mode. So if you put it in airplane mode and then change the system time, that text then changes to reflect the new time, and the towers won't tell it to update its time.
We should test that.
Yeah, I've got old phones. We can test that.
Me too. I was going to say that.
Yeah.
See what we can do.
Good call. Thank you. We'll have to do it in Telegram, which I think I have old phones that have Telegram on them too. If not, I can add it to it. Thank you. Change the left to alligators in 30 seconds. Oh, you mean in the message, alligators. Recovering alcoholic, 20 years. Gary, it takes one to know one. The red glow is telling. Ordered to stop smoking back book 2. Oh, ordered stop smoking book 2. Love the community support. Thank you to all of you. Christ is King indeed. Yes, yes. See, this is what they don't want. They don't like that we celebrate victories. They don't like that we encourage each other to make themselves better. I never get notifications when you go live anymore. I made sure all the boxes are checked, and I'm still subscribed. I still get from Candace. No bueno. Yeah, no bueno indeed. Indeed. Furman is frequently on Alley Top Files. Good guy. I believe you. I believe you. The Firm is this lawyer's favorite legal movie. I saw that. It was good. It was a good one. Is that the one where he had to turn the music up real loud and whisper in her ear? Good movie. I saw that Indiana is having flooding and power outages. On the Tiki-Tok, a young woman said result of data centers. Have you heard about this? Thoughts? I have not. I have no idea what a data center would do to cause a storm. I'm open to it, but I've not seen it. Celebrating my oldest son's 21st birthday while wearing my RBP Curious Mind shirt. Having a mother-son dinner at the Ritz. Ooh. The Ritz. Wow. Ladies and gentlemen. I used to get KFC for my birthday. You're going to the Ritz. At Lake Oconee. Please share a piece of advice for Nate as he embarks on this next year. Christ is King indeed, always. Hey, Nate, my advice is get your mom to take you to the Ritz more often. I heard it's nice in there. You know who liked tea time at the Ritz? Erica. You know who else liked tea time at the Ritz? Jeffrey Epstein. No tea time, guys. No tea time. It's got a bad taint to it. Piece of advice. What would I have wanted to hear at 21? What was Erica's advice? Don't do cocaine. That was her advice. What would I do? What advice would I give a 21-year-old? Slow down. Slow down. You're at 21. You're at that age of your life where you're always wanting the next milestone. Like you're always wanting to be a little older, the next job, the next step up, to be the supervisor, to be the manager. Slow down. Enjoy it. Look around. A lot of us would love to go back to 21. You know, here's the thing. Who's wealthier? Warren Buffett or your son? Hear me out. How much money do you think Warren Buffett would give up to go back to be 21? I'm guessing all of it. Can't take it with you. Enjoy the time you have. Enjoy the time you have. Curious if you've looked into any gematria surrounding this case. I don't pretend to understand it, but you can see some interesting things indeed. Scary. Candace and eyebrows line up. Send you email later. Love you. No, I haven't, and I don't believe in that stuff. You don't have to send it to me. I'll see your broken nose and raise you a nose surgery. Could not breathe through my mouth for a week and a half because of the packing they put in. They put the packing in your mouth? But if you had nose surgery, you can't breathe through your mouth or nose? I'm terrified of how that turned out. Did they poke a hole in your chest? Gary, lying about you crashing out is hilarious. Did I crash out? I don't think I crashed out. I commented on one of Ian's comments one day saying it's sad how effeminate our former Green Berets are. He took and asked me if I was trans and blocked me before I could respond. He's so manly. He's so manly. Baron, Gary's jealous because we all love you. Christ is King indeed. Oh, I love you more. I love you more. Your conviction for truth is so inspiring. I'm moved by your integrity amidst your investigation. God bless. Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, I'm just looking for the truth. I don't care where it leads. I don't have a predetermined outcome. These other people seem to. Like they were questioning the investigation. They were questioning whether Tyler Robinson did it. They were questioning the bullet narrative. And then all of a sudden they're like, Tyler Robinson did it. He's guilty. Put a needle in his arm. Fast trial. Let's go. Let's go. What are we waiting on? He's done. He's done. He's done. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go. He did it. Official narrative. Open shut case. Open shut case. Official narrative. Open shut case. Easy does it. Let's go. I don't know. I'm trying to think of other words and it's not coming fast enough. But that doesn't leave a lot of room for truth. What if something comes up and now you've condemned this man to hell, basically? You've condemned him to death. You've said the evidence is overwhelming. How do you back up from that? You can't come back from that ledge. Once you declare the evidence is overwhelming, anything that comes out makes you look foolish. What if it comes out and he was like in Ohio that day? I don't think it will, but what if it did and you said the evidence was overwhelming? Now what? You have any credibility at that point? No. Thank you, Baron. Keep going, Max. Enjoy your time off. You will be greatly missed. You will be greatly missed, Amber and others. You all will be greatly missed. Gary looks like the gnome in my flower bed. It's never been stolen. It's never been stolen. You guys are hilarious. Oh, my gosh. That's funny. This is an excellent show, Baron. Rowe and her flip-flop brings so much perspective to what we are seeing now. Excellent work. Love you, Daisy, this incredible community, and my new bull butter hat. Oh, I'm sure you look great in it. CK allegedly sending messages the day before, afraid for his life. Yet his security was more worried about setting up the tent beforehand. Yeah, I went back and watched the first 9 minutes before the bang. And for someone who was texting his security saying he was terrified for his life, they were paying no attention. Like, they were just meandering about. I mean, Dan Flood his mind was anywhere but there. Like, he kept looking around. He was checking his watch, talking to his phone, talking to Brian Harpole, hand signals to Terrell. Like, bro, supposedly the night before, he's telling you he's terrified he's going to die. Eyes up. Look alive, Gare Bear. I mean, not Gare Bear. Dan, look alive, Dano. 6 kids all out of college now. Number 2 son burst into tears when we stopped for gas on the way out of town. Her leaving hit him hard. He followed her and roomed with her for 2 years. Keep an eye on the 6 still at home. Jesus loves you. Thank you. I will. I'm watching them every day like a hawk. I turn in your grandbaby's blanket to the state fair in Kansas on Thursday. I find out if I placed on 9/7 and get it back to ship to you on 9/20. Emailed you a pic of it. I had a CIK tag made for it. Baby blanket in the subline in email. I will check that out. Thank you. That's so kind. I hope it wins. Is there a correlation between Clancy child murder sympathizers and Candace Slop supporters? I wonder. Just questions. Hopefully don't block me again. I don't know if there's a correlation. I haven't looked at that. I haven't been following the Clancy case carefully. I don't know. One thing I have noticed is if you are convinced Tyler Robinson did it, there's like a 99% chance you're in favor of the war in Iran. I have noticed that correlation. The excessive blinking Gary displays is obviously the result of retooling prayers. Gare Bear, you met up with old Victo? You've been looking in your eyes? Been a member 7 months today. Happy memversary. Couldn't ask for a better gift than seeing Scary Gary unwashed face. Love you, Mr. B. Christ is king indeed. Scary Gary? Well, his breath might be. I sent you an email about a behaviorist on the Mr. Hoppole interview. I have 2 kids, and my daughter is already a mechanic, and my son is now following. And now my son is following. I have my dogs and dog daycare at home, though. Please pray for me to quit smoking. I'm trying. Alan Carbook. We recommended it to you earlier. I'm told it works. No guarantees. Told it works. But congrats on the kids. Sounds like they got their heads screwed on right. Gary, implying your audience is full of bots is hilarious. Never seen so many bots awakening and reviving their faith and getting sober. Some bot farm you run, sir. Keep going, Max. Powering down. Powering down. Yes, we run a tight ship here of bots. Hi, B. Manchester, UK. If this confusing trial was in the UK, would it be different? I don't know how they do it. Actually, I kind of do. I got involved in a criminal case in the UK back in, I want to say like 2011, 12, somewhere in there. And I had to take a little course. I took the course. I didn't have to, but you have to take a little test on UK law. It was the Queen's bench at the time. She was very much still alive. That old lizard lady that used to sit in the throne up there. But it was the Queen's bench, and I had to take a test to let them know I believed what they said or understood what they were doing. And then I had to get a wig. I had to get fitted for a robe. And I had to belong to an inn of court. I think it was Gray's Inn I became a member of. And then we're getting ready for trial. Passport in hand. Everything's going well. We're mounting a stellar defense for this young man. And then he dies. He died before trial. It was tragic. I'm not laughing because he's dead, but I'm laughing at the irony. It was tragic. Wrote a funny little rhyme about Tiny Gary. Not proper to share here. You should check it out. Same at name except underscore after O. Love you, my B. Love you, Psycho. C-R-R. Love you, Psycho. Thanks for what you continue to do. Thank you, Trip88. I appreciate it. One of 2. First chat. I live 15 minutes from Upper St. Clair. Have you been to the Washington Giant Eagle? I grew up going there. I lived in Northport, Alabama, 22 and 23. I've been to Northport. I don't know if I've been to the Washington Giant Eagle, but I've been to several in the Pittsburgh area. I might have. I used to do a little stuff for them. I would love a page on your site listing people we're praying for, sober friends, etc. I got neuro issues and can't remember all the names. Christ is King indeed. I'm probably not going to do that, if I'm being honest. But I do encourage people to either jot it down or go back and watch the sections, whatever. You can look at transcript and see pray, and you can probably find all the names. 2 of 2. All you and Candace do. I'm 3 years clean and much better for it. I can't wait for my decoy shirt to arrive. Christ is King indeed. Our printer is probably going, what the hell's a decoy? There's several of them were sold. Hey, Baron, they're probably like, no, you normally sold 12 of everything. What happened here? What is so hot with decoy? I hope they take one home. Hey, Baron, big fan of yours. Really appreciate you speaking up and sharing your perspective during these shady times. Don't let the haters silence you. Oh, I'm not worried about them. They water off the back. Baron, I love you and your common sense. That is all. I love you and your common sense comment. Thank you. We have chicanery afoot. Yes. Did I say that? We do. Chicanery. 14 years off heroin today. Wow. There are so few people who can give up those things. Congratulations, 14 years. God made a believer out of me when he got me, of all people, sober. To anyone doubting, if I can do it, anyone can. Christ is King indeed. Thank you for sharing that with our community. I really genuinely appreciate it. Pray for me. I've been mean on X to Andy, Erica, Baldy. This mean anger stems from the murder of my aunt by Brian Smith. I don't know. Grief can be painful, comes and goes. May God bless you, your best AK supporter. Christ is King indeed. Tamma Love. I'll pray for you. Don't be mean to people. I mean, we can have a little fun, but we don't want to be mean. I'll allow it. Thank you, Ivan. Thank you. I know you will. Christ is King indeed. Big Gary is my rap name. Oh, I didn't know you were a rapper. Now we know. Us shorties don't claim Gary. So what are the courts going to do about modified footage being shown on shrunk cars? Well, hopefully the defense objects and doesn't allow it to get put in. Ideally, they say, give us the real footage or you can't go forward. Are there any firmware updates available for Gary 2.0? Seems to have bugs and not functioning as promised. We're expecting a patch. Gingivitis is his drag name. My old radio partner used to come up with drag names for everybody. That's why I laughed especially hard. He called one person Eileen Dover. Yeah, funny. FTR is proven to be innocent. Will he be eligible for compensation by the state for being locked up for so long? I don't think so, but I don't know the answer to that in Utah. Y'all, the left is bad. Who likes leftovers or 2 left feet? Left behind. Never hear a gangster called righty. Get to a party anywhere they go. They left. Right's good. Bill of Rights saying right on. Yeah, that's funny. I will allow that. That's hilarious. Baron, I'm very curious how you exercise the demon of fear. Please share if you can. Zamet, I've explained this a few times. I don't want to say fear. I want to say anxiety and worry. I'll explain it one more time. I'll do the quick version. In church, praying before Mass. I don't know if you're Catholic, but it's quiet in there. People are praying. We don't chat and drink coffee before Mass. You sit and you pray. And sitting in there and kind of close my eyes, sitting on the kneeler, and all of a sudden, I was gone. Transported to another realm. I don't know where I was, but I was not in church. And just instantly was overwhelmed with this not audible voice, but this message that this is all that matters. Like, don't worry about anything else. Stop worrying. If you're homeless, if you're, sick, if you're, no matter what happens, no matter what tragedy you experience on this earth, it'll be gone in a second, and you've got all of this for eternity. So just sit tight, big boy. Keep your eyes focused up here, and you won't be worried. The day-to-day stuff isn't going to get to you. And about that time, I was zapped back into church, and I looked around like, did everyone see that? What the hell just happened? Probably a bad choice of words there. What the heck just happened? And I had this sense of calm and peace, and I've had it since. And things that would have previously caused great trauma in my life or caused great anxiety and worry, the arrival of a grandchild that was not on the agenda, the kids moving off to college, chaos here and there, even people like Tiny Gary getting upset and saying all these crazy defamatory things and just things that aren't true. I don't worry about it anymore. Like, none of it bothers me. So I'm like, hey, we're here to save souls, right? We're here to just get through life. We're here to be good neighbors. We're here to love on people. We're here to try to make everybody a little better. What can I do to help somebody around me be better today than they were yesterday? And that's kind of been my new approach for life. And I might have had a little moment of frustration here or there. That happens. But no, like, anxiety or worry like I used to have. I used to sit around and worry about stuff. Like, what if you lose your job? What if, you're not going to be able to pay the rent? What if you can't pay the rent? You get kicked out of the apartment. That's when I was young and poor. And then you get a house. You're like, what if I lose my job and I can't pay the mortgage and then I get kicked out? What if my car breaks down? At one time, my wife and I drove 2 cars that had a combined like 400,000 miles on them. They were not exactly in tip-top shape. And, something happens inevitably to those cars, and it drains your savings to put, some new piece on it that's $1,100. And then you realize a brake line goes out, and you got to get that towed and fixed. And then you realize, at one point, my wife is in another city, another state, and she calls me. She's like, the van's making noise. Now, this was a Chevy Express van, 12-passenger van, big old school bus, because we have a big family. She's like, the car's making a noise. And she sends me a picture of the front wheel, and it's like this. I'm like, stop, don't move. You have to get the car towed, and then you got to get the car fixed. And it's $2,300, and you don't have it. So you're borrowing money from somebody to pay for the van so that your family can get back home because they're trapped in another state. That stuff used to send me on a spiral. Like, I would get just sick, like vomiting sick. It's huge anxiety and worry. I don't get that way anymore. Just, we're here to make people better, make everyone around you better, be a good neighbor, love on people. And if you can do that, then you don't have keep your eyes fixed on that. This is all that matters. This is all that matters. My husband says Gary looks like Yukon Cornelius on Rudolph. But Yukon Cornelius was taller than Gary, right? That's what I think. You joined the exclusive grandparents club today, July 3rd. Parents are libs, but we're on it. Christ is king, indeed. Hey, take care of that grandbaby. Sounds like it needs extra help. Why does it seem EK doesn't know what CO has via text? They panic and rest CK phone. Also, EK and Epstein connection. Thoughts, B and Daisy. I'm not going to answer the middle one because I don't know the answer to that. We did do a show, if you're curious about it, on Erica's reviews on some travel website from 2017 and 2016 and 17 maybe. And we actually lined it up with emails from the files. And there were some interesting overlaps, if we're being honest. Some interesting overlaps. But I can't draw a conclusion from that. And I mean, could you reasonably infer something? Yeah, maybe for Utah courts under Rule 1102, you could. But is it enough to go on a podcast and say they're definitely a connection? No, certainly not. But it was interesting, and I thought it was interesting. That's all I'll say about that. Why does it seem EK doesn't know what CA? Because she doesn't know. She doesn't know who her sources are. Scent of a Woman, #1 court movie. Out of order. I'll show you out of order. Hoo-wah! That's on my top 5 movies. I don't know why I didn't mention it. That's on my top 5 all-time movies. Scent of a Woman. I find that movie nearly perfect, nearly flawless. Absolute specimen of a movie. Man, you're going to make me want to watch it again. I haven't watched it in years. That's a movie I've seen 25 times. A Bad Man. Yes, A Bad Man. Great movie. If you've never seen it, highly recommend it. I don't know why I didn't think of it. Great movie. It wasn't really a courtroom movie, though. Loyal member here. Don't let me name Joe fool. Don't let the name Joe fool you. Okay. I got you, American Joe. Duly noted. I feel it makes you snub me. I bought a welcome mat that says welcome in, welcome in, welcome in for my sister. You make our day. Joe isn't such a bad name. Remember, Jesus loves you. I don't hold Joe against all Joes, just against Joe. Barron sent my near-death email this past Saturday. I will check it out. Thank you. I've not been on her email. I canceled my subscription to Benny 7 months ago just to be here. Joe nor Benny are representative of this Joe Johnson. Thank you for always going Max. Thank you. I appreciate that. Christ is king indeed. #1 fan from Elizabeth City. Have you looked more into N4 N465FX. I have, and it's a charter plane. If I remember correctly. I'm still freaked out about it flying over my house on 5/13. I thought it was flying into Harvey Point, but it landed at U.S. Coast Guard Base Private Airport. Thank you, my B. Christ is king indeed. I think it's a charter jet. I think it's a flex jet. That's what the FX is at the end. Sorry, I'm behind the military guy with Stephen Gardner's American hero, Daniel Davis, who is a tremendous podcast. Look into his story and check out his pod if you haven't. God bless. I have not, but I will. Thanks, Baron. I used to watch both of those guys, Benny Johnson and Stephen Gardner. No turning back. They sold their souls to the wrong side. Thanks. I will no longer watch them. Christ is king indeed. I think a lot of those people are losing audiences. When Gary went Gary 2.0, he lost 90+% of his audience, it seems like. My B. Me not liking PT don't mean I'm not doing it. Good, Moon Goddess. Keep going. Keep going. Gary Garden Gnome should be trending. I don't believe it, but doesn't mean they don't use it. Meow. Okay. 33 is a clear example of gematria. Oh, I see what you're saying. It does give clues about where they are headed. Christ is king indeed. I thought you were talking about that thing where people like put numbers on names and say, oh, his name adds up to 63. That means this. I thought that's what you were talking about. Watched BLJ for years. Can hardly stomach it now. Roger that. We call her Granny K. Sending big country love from Helena, Alabama. You cracked me up. Go Max. I did mention Helena, didn't I? Or Helena. Helena? Helena. I think it's Helena, Alabama. I think that's how they pronounce it. I knew somebody from there. I don't think I've been there. Where's Helena? I don't think I have, but I knew a goat farmer from there. Yeah, believe it or not, a goat farmer. I won't use his name. Yeah, it's up by Pelham. Yeah, I knew a goat farmer from there. I still think Degoy would have nailed it. Roger, don't know what that means, but I believe you. With all due respect, kind sir of knowledge, things have changed. There's more questions than before. I agree. Do you have multiple washers, dryers? I am too curious. Grew up in a house of 4, and even now with 2 people. Laundry's a task. No, we don't. We just have 1. Actually ran an enzyme cleaner through it last night after Mrs. Coleman went to bed. Ran 2 cycles of enzyme cleaner, just to, freshen it up a bit. B, I don't want to smell like Gary. B, ever visit GE in Northeast Ohio? My hometown is Geneva. I have not. I called it. I knew it. I called it. I believe you, Nikki. What's she talking about? What's she talking about? My B, I'd love to see another episode of you and Coach Colin. You guys are the funniest, most genuine, and most relatable podcasters in the biz. Keep going. Max, Christ is king indeed. I'm a big fan of Coach Colin. Was listening to him this morning, as a matter of fact. Bubba Barron, thank you, Daisy and Nurse Casey, for all you do. Have you ever looked into the black car trunk that opened next to tent during the Big Bang? Yes, I have. That's it was not a trunk. It was the hatch of a minivan. If true about the evacuation of hospital, do you think they might have been preparing for mass casualty event? Wondering about the pipe materials found in an apartment from the search warrants. No, I have no way to weigh in on that. Hey, Baron, how about John Dewey in your vacant spot? No. It's staying vacant, guys. Stop recommending people for the vacant spot. It stays vacant. Baron, you were kind enough to give me some advice about starting my YouTube channel. Thank you. You were so kind to me. Super chat from It to Share. Nola RN Jen in real life. God bless you in the work you do. Beyond the bedside with Jen, I wish you nothing but the best of luck. Genuinely. Why the name changed from George to Baron? Curious. I've gone by Baron my whole life. At work, I went by George. And now I'm Baron again because I don't work there anymore. Some classes I went by George just because they say George when they do the role. You're like, whatever. I'm not going to talk in this class anyway. I don't care what she calls. If we receive leaked government documents, we too could do the work Data Republican does so brilliantly, allegedly, perhaps, maybe. Yeah, it'd be nice, wouldn't it? It'd be nice. But we can't all be Data Republicans. No, some of us don't have access to the Department of War to launch our war against Candace Owens. But she does. But I do know one thing, and I know it well. Jesus loves you. And that's just a fact. It's just a fact. There's nothing you can do to change it. Nothing. Guys, I hope you will be with me tomorrow. Should be doing a matinee tomorrow. If I do not do a matinee, I may not be able to do a show at all because I cannot do it tomorrow night. I've got plans that I cannot break. So it should be a matinee show tomorrow. I hope you can tune in early. If not, catch it on the replay. YouTube, Spotify, great places to watch it. Spotify's been such a good partner. And a lot of people have Spotify Premium. If you have Spotify Premium, no commercials. But you can't watch live. So there's, take the bitter with the sweet. That's what Justice Brennan said. Take the bitter with the sweet. But I will be back mañana in all likelihood. 75 to 85% chance we'll do a show on Wednesday. And then I am out Thursday and Friday and Saturday and Sunday. Might be able to sneak a member show in, depending on everything that's going on. So stay tuned for that. And I hope you have a wonderful night. I almost told you to hit the like button again, but I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to tell you to hit the like button and how it helps the YouTube stuff. I'm not going to tell you. See, I was going to, but I didn't. But I will tell you to have a good night. Talk to you soon.